The divine sword is invincible. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 376. The God Slaying begins. Kill. Wu Peng saw that nearly 1,000 saint realms from the 4 major sects had all perished, all died tragically, and all died without a complete body. He roared, went crazy, and bombarded madly. However, no matter how crazy Wu Peng and others were, no matter how crazy they bombarded, they were always suppressed by the Ice Flame Kirin, the Sky Blue Thunder Python and the 6 people. Wu Peng became more and more angry and crazy as he fought. Moreover, Yang Xiaoshan controlled the power of the sword path, and from time to time he urged the 18 sword monuments to bombard Wu Peng and the 17 people, making Wu Peng embarrassed. Yang Xiaoshan, if you have the guts, come down. Wu Peng roared, with murderous intent. Let's fight one-on-one. Everyone was speechless. Wu Peng was a god, and he actually asked a martial emperor to fight him one-on-one. I guess only Wu Peng could say this. Ice Flame Kirin looked at the crazy Wu Peng and said coldly, Wu Peng, if you have the guts, you fight me one-on-one. Wu Peng choked. The 17 gods were at a disadvantage in the battle against the 6 Ice Flame Kirins. If he fought Ice Flame Kirin alone, he would be beaten so badly that even his mother would not recognize him. The fight continued. The sword energy soared into the sky, the ice flames covered the sky, and the thunder exploded. The power of the gods intertwined and shocked everyone. Li Hang stood far away, his mind was shaken, and his blood boiled. This is the power of the gods. With a wave of their hands and feet, a mountain and a river were destroyed, and a city and a country were destroyed. This battle was more shocking, exciting than the battle when the 4 major sects besieged the True Dragon sect. In particular, the power of the magic Sky Sword God and the Tongxin Demon Ape shocked Li Hang and others. At this time, the battle between the magic Sky Sword God and the Tongxin Demon Ape had entered a white-hot state. The two fought above the 9 heavens, with wind and clouds rolling and darkness endless. From time to time, tens of millions of sword energies burst out. However, although the sword energy of the Demon Heaven Sword God was strong, it could only cut through the monstrous demon energy on the Tongxin Demon Ape, and could not hurt the Demon Ape at all. But every time the Demon Ape swung its iron chain, it would force the Demon Heaven Sword God to retreat. The difference in strength was immediately apparent. After a long battle, the Demon Heaven Sword God would surely lose. Wu Peng also saw that the Demon Heaven Sword God would be defeated sooner or later, so he was panicking. If the Demon Heaven Sword God was defeated, and the Demon Ape would take out his hand to deal with them, who among them could stop the Demon Ape? No one of them could stop it. At that time, they would be beaten to death by the Demon Ape one by one. Thinking of his fate in a while, Wu Peng's hands and feet became colder and colder. Tang Hang and others obviously thought of this, and began to feel fearful and uneasy. Kill it. Wu Peng roared, stepped into the air, and the whole person seemed to rise straight into the sky. This was the first magical power of the Tatian sect, Tatian Ki. When Wu Peng stepped into the sky, his body burst out with amazing divine power, like a rocket, constantly pushing him upward. Seeing that Wu Peng was about to escape, the Azure Thunder Python shouted coldly, "Thunder explosion." Millions of divine thunders blasted down from the 9 heavens, and then exploded above Wu Peng's head. Wu Peng's face changed drastically, and he retreated frantically. The heavenly sword in his hand turned wildly, forming a sword cover. The 9 heavens divine thunder blasted on the sword cover, blasting Wu Peng back to the original place again. At this time, Wu Peng finally realized that the Ice Flame Kirin and the others did not fight with all their strength just now, but just kept besieging them, waiting for the Demon Ape to free up his hands, and then solve them one by one. Wu Peng glanced at Yang Xiaoshan on the spaceship, and saw that Yang Xiaoshan was staring at him with cold eyes. Wu Peng was shocked and angry. He glanced at the Demon Heaven Sword God above the 9 heavens, and suddenly took out an ancient symbol. Don't let him use the ancient symbol space to teleport. On the spaceship, Yang Xiaoshan noticed the ancient symbol in Wu Peng's hand and shouted immediately. After Yang Xiaoshan finished speaking, the Ice Flame Kirin and the Azure Thunder Python attacked Wu Peng at the same time. Wu Peng crushed the ancient symbol in his hand in panic. Suddenly, the space vibrated, and his whole body was filled with light. Seeing that Wu Peng was about to be teleported thousands of miles away, suddenly, the ice flame Kirin roared, and the ice flame power of his body surged, covering the sky, and freezing all the surrounding space. As long as the space was frozen, he would see how Wu Peng would use the space teleportation. Sure enough, Wu Peng, whose original form had disappeared, soon fell from the sky again. Seeing that even the space teleportation talisman failed to teleport, Wu Peng's face became even uglier. He roared at Yang Ocean, "Yang Ocean, I will kill you in this life. Unfortunately, you won't have a chance." Yang Ocean said coldly. Wu Peng was about to speak, but was interrupted by the 9 heavens thunder of the sky blue thunder python. Tang Hong, Xiang and others, like Wu Peng, tried to escape countless times, but were always interrupted by the ice flame Kirin, and Tang Hong gradually became desperate. "Yang Ocean, even if I die, I will drag you to be buried with me." Tang Hong roared, his blood and ki burning, and his divine power was constantly increasing. Obviously, he used the forbidden technique of the Heaven Stepping sect, and was willing to sacrifice his blood and ki to improve his combat power. Xiang and others also use the forbidden techniques of the sect to improve their combat power. Seeing Wu Peng, Tang Hong and others fighting desperately, Yang Ocean stepped into the air and came to the sword road, using the divine golden elixir to activate the power of the 18 sword monuments on the sword road. Endless sword energy gushed out from the 18 sword monuments. A golden divine shadow appeared behind Yang Ocean. When this golden divine shadow appeared, the divine power was pervasive, and Wu Peng, Tang Hong and everyone else were all trembling in their hearts, and they actually felt a sense of worship. Even the demon heaven sword god was no exception. The demon heaven sword god was terrified. Which ancient strong man arranged this sword road, and had such divine power? However, the golden divine shadow was very blurry, and everyone could not see the appearance of the divine shadow at all. Looking at the surging power of the sword road, the demon heaven sword god forced the tanks and demon ape back with a sword, no longer lingered in the battle, turned into a sword light, and disappeared into the sky. Seeing the fleeing demon sword god, Wu Peng and his 17 companions were even more desperate. Seeing the demon sword god flee, tanks and demon ape did not chase him. He took a step and came to Wu Peng and his 17 companions. He swung out the 10,000 feet iron chain in his hand and pulled out a god from the Tatian sect. When the god fell into the ground in the distance, his head had been blown up and became a headless corpse. Seeing the head of the god from the Tatian sect being blown up, all the strong men were so scared that their hair stood on end. Wu Peng, Tang Hong and his 16 companions were even more pale and bloodless. "The slaughter of gods is about to begin," Li Hong said absent-mindedly. What kind of scene would it be if Wu Peng, Tang Hong and others were all slaughtered? The Dragon Empire is going to change. An old ancestor muttered to himself. If Wu Peng, Tang Hong and others died, it would mean that the 4 major sects would be destroyed. Not only would the sky change, but even the earth would change. After blowing up the powerful god from the Tatian sect, the demon ape sneered and swung the iron chain in his hand again. Soon, screams rang out again. Another god was blown away, still shot in the head. Seeing this, Wu Peng, Tang Hong and others were terrified. "Yang Ocean, we from the Mahadivine sect are willing to serve you." At this time, a god ancestor of the Mahadivine sect said in horror, "We are willing to help you kill Wu Peng." Chapter 377 I want your life. Wu Peng's face turned green when he heard that the powerful divine spirit of the Mahadivine sect said that he wanted to serve Yang Ocean and help Yang Ocean to surround and kill him. Everyone looked at Yang Ocean. "Kill." Yang Ocean's voice seemed to float out from the 9 nether cold prison. Everyone shuddered. The demon ape no longer had any scruples and swung the life-demanding iron chain in his hand at Wu Peng and others with all his strength. The powerful divine spirit of the Mahadivine sect looked at the iron chain swinging, shocked and angry, with a look of disbelief. He really didn't expect that several powerful divine spirits of their Mahadivine sect would serve Yang Ocean, but Yang Ocean didn't want them. They are powerful divine spirits, not saints. They are gods. Li Hang and other powerful people from all sides originally thought that Yangzai Ocean would be happy to accept the Mahadivine sect's service, but they were also shocked to hear that Yangzai Ocean said to kill. This is a god, isn't he afraid of heaven's punishment? An ancestor in the crowd couldn't help but trembled. In the minds of many warriors, the gods are supreme and cannot be blasphemed. But now, Yangzai Ocean not only wants to blaspheme, but also kill. This is simply too audacious. As soon as the ancestor finished speaking, the iron chain in the hands of the demon ape instantly exploded. The head of the Mahadivine sect strongman who was about to join Yangzai Ocean. Blood splattered in the air. The body fell in front of the strong men from all sides. Looking at the headless body in front of them, everyone trembled in their hearts. This is the body of a powerful god. And it was a dead body. Seeing that the powerful god of the Mahadivine sect was blown up, the remaining gods of the 4 major sects were even more terrified, and the demon ape was so angry that he roared wildly, and the roar shook the sky. The demon ape's violent killing intention swept the world. The Tonkin demon ape was originally a violent beast. Before being suppressed, it was fierce and powerful. After being suppressed for thousands of years, not only did its killing intention not disappear, but it became even stronger. The iron chains in his hands kept swinging out, turning into 2 cold lights, blowing up one after another of the gods from the 4 major sects. The blood red light in his eyes became stronger and stronger. Seeing the masters from the 4 major sects being blown up one after another, Wu Peng and others were already scared and weak, and they didn't even have the courage to attack the demon ape. They just wanted to escape. However, Bingai and Killin and the barbarian people were guarding all around, not giving them a chance to escape. Wu Peng shouted at Yangzai Ocean, "Yangzai Ocean, you slaughtered the gods, you will be punished by heaven." Hearing this, Yangzai Ocean said coldly, "Heavenly punishment? If heaven doesn't tolerate me, then I will destroy heaven. If heaven doesn't tolerate me, I will destroy heaven." Everyone was shocked. "One day, I will make this sky no longer cover my eyes. I will make this earth no longer bury my heart." Yangzai Ocean said coldly. "Okay." Bingai and Killin, Shine King Thunder Python and others all roared in unison. "In the future, we will follow the young master to step into the 9 heavens and surpass the 9 heavens." The demon apes were all excited. The demon ape was so excited about killing that he didn't even need a chain. He just punched out and blasted a deity from the ancient god palace away. The armor of the deity from the ancient god palace exploded, and his body was covered in blood and flesh. When he landed, he was already a meat pie. "Yangzai Ocean, don't kill me. I'll give you whatever you want." The last remaining deity from the ancient god palace cried out in fear, his voice full of tears. He regretted it. He regretted making an alliance with Wu Peng, and regretted agreeing to Wu Peng's conditions to surround and kill the true dragon sect. He was blinded by his own greed. "What do I want?" Yangzai Ocean's voice was still as cold as ever. "I want your life." Hearing Yangzai Ocean say that he wanted their lives, the remaining masters of the 4 major sects knew that Yangzai Ocean was determined to kill them, and no longer expected Yangzai Ocean to let them go, and fought desperately again. However, facing the existence of the Tonkin demon ape, which had been fierce and powerful for thousands of years, Wu Peng and others would be of no avail, no matter how hard they fought. Back then, the demon heaven sword god killed 4 gods with 1 sword. However, the heart-to-heart demon ape was even stronger than the heavenly sword god. No matter how hard Wu Peng and the others tried, they could not escape the fate of being slaughtered one by one. In the end, only Wu Peng was left. The heart-to-heart demon ape grabbed Wu Peng. Wu Peng was terrified and desperate. He shouted sadly, "Yangzai Ocean, even if I go to hell, I will crawl out and take your life. Eat your soul." Listening to Wu Peng's words, Yangzai Ocean said, "When you were a god, I was not afraid of you, let alone you are a ghost." Wu Peng wanted to say more, but the demon ape pulled hard, and Wu Peng screamed miserably, and was torn into 2 halves. Blood and flesh splattered. The blood stained the demon ape, and the demon ape was full of blood and demonic energy. Seeing Wu Peng being torn to death, the strong men from all sides looked at the demon ape and could not hide their fear. Everyone was shocked. The magic sky sword god, together with the 17 gods from the 4 major sects and nearly 1,000 saints, besieged the true dragon sect. Now, the 17 gods from the 4 major sects and nearly 1,000 saints have all perished. Only the magic sky sword god escaped. Half a day ago, who could have thought that this would be the result? The strong men from the 4 major sects perished, and the artifacts and sacred artifacts fell all over the ground, but at this moment, no one dared to pick them up. Everyone looked at the corpses on the ground, and was shocked for a long time. Let's go back. Li Hong, the owner of Kinglian Restaurant, said with mixed feelings. Just when Li Hong was about to leave with Li Qian and the masters of Kinglian Restaurant, a cold voice suddenly sounded. Go back. Did I tell you to leave? Yang Xiaoshen's words made Li Hong, Li Qian and others stop. Everyone's heart jumped. Li Hong took a deep breath and looked at Yang Xiaoshen. I wonder what Yang Xiaoshen means? What do you mean? Yang Xiaoshen said calmly, do you really think that my True Dragon sect is a place where you can come and go as you please? The 4 major sects surrounded and killed the True Dragon sect. Li Hong and others believed that the True Dragon sect was doomed to be destroyed. They came here just to watch the show with a gloating mentality. Many people even came with the idea of being the fisherman to benefit. If the True Dragon sect was destroyed, they would see if they could get some benefits. Therefore, Yang Xiaoshen was also unhappy with these people. Yang Xiaoshen's words made the faces of the strong men on the scene change. Li Qian used to rely on the Kinglian sword god behind the Kinglian restaurant and looked down on everything. She had never been so angry before, and her face turned red with anger. Whoever dares to leave without my words will die. Yang Xiaoshen glanced at hundreds of thousands of strong men from all sides. The strong men from all sides trembled in their hearts. Li Hong opened his mouth, but finally did not dare to say anything. Afterwards, demon ancestor Mishan and others began to clean up the battlefield, collecting the artifacts of the 4 major sects, the holy noise and the space ring. Brother. At this time, a delicate voice sounded, and a beautiful girl flew out from the True Dragon Divine sect, rushed towards Yang Xiaoshen, and hugged Yang Xiaoshen. The person who came was Yang Linger. Seeing Yang Linger hugging him, Yang Xiaoshen cleared his throat. This girl, she is so old, but she still hugs him like before, and hundreds of thousands of people are watching. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 378, The Fall of the Tatian Sect. Girl, you've grown up so much, but you don't know how to be ashamed. At this time, Huang Ying also walked out of the True Dragon sect. Beside Huang Ying were Yang Chao, Xiao Jin, Eluo King, Wu Qi, Black Dragon King and others. He's my brother, I'm not ashamed. Yang Linger looked up and smiled, then let go of Yang Xiaoshen. Yang Xiaoshen smiled at Yang Chao and Huang Ying. Father, mother. Good. I'm glad you're back. Huang Ying walked closer, looking at her son whom she hadn't seen for nearly 2 years. Her eyes were filled with tears of excitement. Yang Chao smiled and said, you've grown so tall, almost taller than your father. Isn't it true? In the past 2 years, Yang Xiaoshen has grown a lot taller. Young master. Xiao Jin, Eluo King, Wu Qi and others came to Yang Xiaoshen, all very excited. Yang Xiaoshen nodded and smiled at everyone, then took out a bunch of lollipops. Lollipops. Xiao Jin's eyes lit up immediately. Yang Linger's pretty face was also happy. Seeing that his sister was already a girl of more than 1.6 meters tall, and still liked to eat lollipops, Yang Xiaoshen smiled and said, be careful not to lose your teeth, and become an ugly girl. I'm not afraid. Yang Linger stuck out her tongue. After a happy laugh with his family, Yang Xiaoshen immediately went to the Tatian sect with the demon ape, Bingan Kilin and others. Now that Wu Peng and others are dead, he wants to take advantage of the situation and uproot the 4 major sects of Tatian sect and Ancient God Palace. If the news leaks out after a long time, he is afraid that the masters of the 4 major sects will escape. Knowing that Yang Xiaoshen was going to the Tatian sect, Li Zhenqing, Tyrannosaurus Rex, and the leader of the True Dragon God sect, Hunan, and others also went there. Afterwards, Yang Xiaoshen drove the Abyss spaceship and flew quickly to the Tatian sect with everyone. As for the hundreds of thousands of masters on the scene, Yang Xiaoshen also asked them to follow. Although Li Hong and others from the Kinglian restaurant were unwilling, no one dared to disobey. So, under the leadership of Yang Xiaoshan, hundreds of thousands of strong men from all sides came to the Tatian sect in a mighty manner. At this time, the Tatian sect was prosperous. Deng Qinghang and Li Yuping were instructing Hu Yu and Yu Yi in swordsmanship. After the last time the four major sects of the Tatian sect besieged the True Dragon sect, Li Yuping and her daughter Hu Yu completely rebelled against the True Dragon sect and joined the Tatian sect with Yu Yi. As for Deng Qinghang, he was originally a spy of the Tatian sect and now returned to the Tatian sect. Looking at Hu Yu, who was practicing swordsmanship, Li Yuping suddenly said, "I wonder if the True Dragon sect has been breached now." Deng Qinghang glanced at Li Yuping and said in a cold voice, "The news just came back this morning. Within 3 days, Lord Demon Heaven Sword God will definitely blast open the sword path. Don't worry, Ancestor Wu Peng said that he would spare Hunan's life and bring him back for you to do it." He looked at Yu Yi and admired. Yu Yi is indeed a genius in swordsmanship. He has condensed 7 sword hearts at a young age. Given time, he will definitely condense 9 sword hearts and become an unparalleled swordsman in my Kangshen continent. Then he said, "I wonder how Yang Xiaoshan is practicing now." Yu Yi stopped practicing swordsmanship, walked over, and said to Deng Qinghang, "Don't worry, Ancestor. If I meet Yang Xiaoshan again, I will definitely defeat him myself. He has strong confidence in himself." He waved the sword in his hand, and suddenly, the golden flame sword energy shot out, and the strength of the 10th peak of the martial arts sect was fully displayed. Martial sect 10th level peak. Deng Qinghang said in surprise, "Great, great. Yu Yi has broken through to the martial sect 10th level peak at such a young age. This cultivation speed is definitely the first in the history of the Xianzang." At this moment, suddenly, there was a loud rumbling sound. The Xianzang shook violently, as if the world was destroyed. "What's going on?" Deng Qinghang, Li Yuping and others were all shocked. When they looked up, they saw a demon ape that supported the sky and the earth. The demon ape swung out the 10,000 feet of iron chain in both hands again, which turned into 2 iron rods, and slammed hard on the Xianzang's protective formation. There was another huge explosion. The Xianzang's protective formation actually had amazing cracks, and the cracks continued to expand and spread throughout the formation. Deng Qinghang and Li Yuping's faces changed drastically. The Xianzang's protective formation was left by the founder of the Xianzang. It is one of the strongest formations in the Shenlong Empire, and has never been broken by anyone. Now, it can't withstand 2 attacks from this demon ape. Then, the demon ape swung the 10,000-foot iron chain in his hand. "Get out of the way." Deng Qinghang and Li Yuping saw this, and screamed in shock, and flew away with Hu Yu and Yu Yi. As soon as they flew up, they heard the sound of the great array of the Tatian sect being completely blown up. They turned their heads in shock, and saw that the 2 10,000-foot iron chains continued to blast down the gate of the Tatian sect, after breaking the Tatian sect's great array. Bang! Countless peaks of the Tatian sect were blown away. Sand waves rolled. Countless disciples of the Tatian sect flew. The destructive force swept to every corner of the Tatian sect. Deng Qinghang, Li Yuping and others were also hit by the rolling waves of the power and shot backwards. Several people smashed into the mountain peaks and vomited blood. As millions of disciples of the Tatian sect were terrified and screamed, and fled in panic, a spaceship broke through the air and Yang Xiaoshan, Bingai and Kilin and others flew out of the spaceship. Seeing that it was Yang Xiaoshan, Tyrannosaurus Rex, Hunan and others, Deng Qinghang and Li Yuping's eyes widened. Isn't the True Dragon sect going to be destroyed by the Lord of the Magic Sky Sword God? How could Tyrannosaurus Rex, Hunan and others appear in the Tatian sect? Yang Xiaoshan took a look at the chaos and the millions of disciples of the Tatian sect who fled in panic, and then asked the Kinglian Tower Master Li Han to lead the charge with hundreds of thousands of masters from various sects. Li Han was furious when he saw that Yang Xiaoshan dared to let him, the owner of the Kinglian restaurant, act as his thug, but he didn't dare to say anything in the end, and rushed towards the millions of disciples of the Tatian sect. Suddenly, the sound of killing shook the sky. Yang Xiaoshan unfolded his soul power, and soon found Deng Qinghang, Li Yuping and others, and then flew over with Hunan and others. Deng Qinghang and Li Yuping looked pale when they saw Yang Xiaoshan, Hunan and others flying over. You. Liu Ping's lips trembled. You want to ask why we are here, right? Yang Xiaoshan said, it's okay to tell you, Wu Peng, Tang Hong and 17 are all dead. Impossible. Deng King Hong, Liu Ping, Hu Yu, and Yu Yi all shouted in unison. Yang Xiaoshan was too lazy to talk nonsense with them, and said to Hunan, Master Hu, you can deal with them. After that, he and Bingai and Qilin broke through the air, and flew to the treasure house of the Xianzang. Hunan walked towards Liu Ping, Hu Yu and others with the true dragon sword in his hand. Half a day later, the magic ape punched out with both fists, and the rolling fist waves blasted to the end of the sky. I saw countless peaks and palaces of the Xianzang flying backwards. Under the watchful eyes of the masters of various sects, the gate of the Xianzang was flattened. It was a real flat ground. Xianzang, the first sect of the Shenlong Empire, was destroyed. Friend Yang, since Xianzang is destroyed, can we leave? Li Hong, who returned from the bloodbath, held back his anger, and asked Yang Xiaoshan. Leave. Yang Xiaoshan said calmly, no hurry, wait until the ancient palace, Furong Sword Sect, and Mahashenzang are all destroyed, and then I will send Li Laozu back to Qinglian Restaurant. Li Hong almost vomited blood when he heard it. It turned out that Yang Xiaoshan wanted them to continue to be thugs, and continue to attack the ancient palace, Furong Sword Sect and Maha Sect. When they attacked the Tatian Sect just now, half of the masters of the Qinglian Restaurant were killed or injured. If they waited until they finished attacking the ancient palace, Furong Sword Sect and Maha Sect, I'm afraid that most of the masters of the Qinglian Restaurant would be dead. Chapter 379 Ancient Thunder God Sword. However, no matter how angry Li Hong was, no matter how much blood he vomited, he could only swallow it back and continue to attack the ancient palace with the masters of various sects. After attacking the ancient palace, Yang Xiaoshan attacked the Furong Sword Sect and the Maha Divine Sect without stopping. For a time, the killing made the Shenlong Empire collapse and the super sects of the Shenlong Empire and the surrounding empires panic. 100 years later, the masters of the Shenlong Empire were still trembling every time they recalled the destruction of the 4 super sects. They said that the sky of the Shenlong Empire was blood red for several days after Yang Shen returned. After attacking the 4 major sects of the Xiantian sect, Yang Xiaoshan returned to the Zhenlong Divine Sect with the Demon Ape and others. Yang Xiaoshan also followed his words and let the Qinglian Tower Master and others leave. The Qinglian Tower Master and others fled as far as they could, as if they had survived a disaster. Originally, when attacking the Xiantian sect, there were more than 400,000 masters from all parties. But after attacking the Maha Divine Sect, there were less than 100,000 masters from all parties. More than 100 masters went to Qinglian Restaurant, and less than 20 people were left. When Li Hong brought the remaining masters of Qinglian Restaurant back to Qinglian Restaurant, his heart was beating. These more than 100 masters were all powerful masters who were in charge of the Qinglian Restaurant, and they were almost all killed. Grandpa, Yang Xiaoshan is too much. We must let the Sword God Grandmaster give us justice. Li Qian said with hatred and anger. The Sword God Grandmaster she mentioned refers to the Qinglian Sword God. Li Hong took a deep breath and said, don't worry, I have asked someone to report what happened in Qinglian Restaurant to the Grandmaster. The Grandmaster and the Masters of Tangshan Divine Religion will definitely give justice to our Qinglian Restaurant. Hearing this, Li Qian said excitedly, when will the Grandmaster and the Masters of Tangshan Divine Religion come to the Shenlong Empire? It should be 2 or 3 months. Li Hong said. When Yang Xiaoshan returned to the True Dragon Divine Sect, the whole sect celebrated. The Son of God is invincible. The Son of God is invincible. Countless disciples from all the peaks and halls of the True Dragon Divine Sect watched Yang Xiaoshan return, shouting excitedly, as if crazy. From today on, these disciples will revere Yang Xiaoshan, as if he were a god. No, their reverence and worship of Yang Xiaoshan has surpassed that of a god. Tangshan Peak was even more lively, and the whole peak was full of joy and happiness. Even Xiaojin licked his lollipop twice as fast as before. He also made a chirping sound. The True Dragon Divine Sect had to hold a banquet to celebrate Yang Xiaoshan's return. The banquet lasted until late at night. The next day, Yang Xiaoshan practiced thundering 9 heavens. Now, he has condensed 12 sword hearts, and he plans to go to the ancient Thunder God cave mansion today to find the ancient Thunder God sword. So, after having breakfast with his family in the morning, Yang Xiaoshan took the Abyss spaceship to the ancient Thunder God cave mansion of the Washang Empire. This time, he didn't bring anyone with him. With the speed of the Abyss spaceship, as long as he finds the ancient Thunder God sword, he can return to the True Dragon God sect on the same day. Soon, Yang Xiaoshan arrived at Kushiling of the Washang Empire. Due to the presence of the ancient Thunder God cave mansion, Kushiling has changed a lot in just 2 years. Many sects have built palaces in Kushiling, and disciples from various sects enter the ancient Thunder God cave mansion every day. When Yang Xiaoshan arrived at the ancient Thunder God cave mansion, there were many people, more than when he first came. Originally, only those below the martial sect could enter the ancient Thunder God cave mansion, but Yang Xiaoshan comprehended the thunder of the 9 heavens, and under the power of the thunder of the 9 heavens, he entered the Thunder God cave mansion unimpeded. After entering, Yang Xiaoshan went straight to the palace that could not be opened that year. When Yang Xiaoshan arrived at the palace, he saw that the palace was surrounded by many people. Yang Xiaoshan went straight to the gate of the palace, and then urged the thunder of the 9 heavens, using his finger to represent the sword, and with one finger, hundreds of lightning swords bombarded the palace gate. The palace gate, which had been unresponsive, suddenly shone brightly, thunder roared, and the gate slowly opened. Everyone around was stunned. Since the birth of the ancient Thunder God cave mansion, countless disciples have tried various methods over the years, but they have been unable to shake the palace gate. Now, the blue-shirted boy has opened it. It was as if this palace was like his home. Seeing the palace gate open, Yang Xiaoshan was also relieved. Looking at the palace in front of him, Yang Xiaoshan couldn't help but feel nervous and uneasy. Just as he was about to enter the palace, suddenly, a figure flashed, and a young man in a dragon robe blocked Yang Xiaoshan. Wait. The young man said, young brother, this ancient Thunder God cave mansion belongs to my Washang imperial family, you can't go in. Hearing the young man say that the ancient Thunder God cave mansion belongs to the Washang imperial family and he can't go in, Yang Xiaoshan smiled and said, you belong to the Washang imperial family? Zhu Zuan also said that this ancient Thunder God cave mansion belongs to him. But later, I blasted him into a dog. Yang Xiaoshan said this, and punched out, and blasted the young man from the Washang imperial family out. The faces of the other disciples changed. Yang Xiaoshan glanced at the other disciples, and then stepped into the palace. The palace slowly closed. After entering the palace, I saw that the palace was not big, only 200 or 300 square meters. There was an iron box in the center of the palace, and there was a jade bottle next to the iron box, and nothing else. Yang Xiaoshan came to the iron box, only to see that the iron box was tightly closed, and also had a forbidden power. He tried to open it with the power of Lei Dong Jiayushan. Sure enough, the tightly closed iron box was opened. When the iron box was opened, I saw a sword inside. The sword body flashed with lightning. Seeing the iron sword, Yang Xiaoshan smiled. The ancient Thunder God sword was indeed here. The Thunder God sword was finally found. There was hope for the 13th sword heart. Excited, he immediately held the Thunder God sword and practiced thundering 9 days in the palace. Suddenly, lightning surged. Under the traction of the Thunder God sword, the entire Thunder God cave mansion was filled with lightning one after another, and the lightning became stronger and stronger. This strange scene surprised the strong men from all sides. How could the Thunder God cave mansion suddenly have such a strange phenomenon? Someone has obtained the Thunder God inheritance. It has triggered the power of the Thunder God cave mansion. Everyone was shocked when they heard it. Who has obtained the Thunder God inheritance? The news that someone had obtained the Thunder God inheritance quickly spread, and the masters of the major sects and families of the Washang Empire were all surprised and rushed to the Thunder God cave mansion. At this time, in the palace, Yang Xiaoshan practiced thundering 9 days over and over again. He continued to comprehend the Thunder God Sword Dao. His whole body was filled with Thunder Sword energy, and the Thunder Sword energy was increasing. Just like when he was practicing Kangshen Sword Dao, Yang Xiaoshan's figure disappeared from the hall. Yang Xiaoshan seemed to have merged into the world in the Thunder Sword energy. After an unknown amount of time, strands of 9-color sword energy bloomed from the thunder sword energy. Soon, the power of the 12 sword hearts awakened. Then, the 13th sword heart. When the 13th sword heart lit up, the terrifying sword power swept across the world. Under the sweep of this sword power, the masters of various sects and major families from the Washang Empire were all trembling in their souls. Chapter 380 The Only God of the Dragon Empire. What kind of sword power is this? It's so terrifying. The masters of the Washang Empire looked at the ancient god cave with horror. As the thunder sword energy in the hall became stronger and stronger, the 13th sword heart became more and more solid, and the sword power became stronger and stronger. Above the thunder god cave, the lightning condensed into thunder dragons, and the terrifying pressure suffocated the masters of various sects. Inside the hall, the thunder sword energy filled the entire hall. These thunder sword energies were sometimes violent, like a 9-day thunder beast roaring at the world, and sometimes extremely docile, like the wind that teased people's cheeks. Time passed. The 13th sword heart finally condensed completely. The 9-color sword light bloomed. The world shook. In the current Kangshen continent, even the strongest sword god only condensed 10 sword hearts. And now, Yangtze Ocean condensed 13 invincible sword hearts. If it were to be spread out, it would not only alarm the Kangshen continent. In the hall, under the light of the 13 invincible sword hearts, the sword energy of thunder gradually weakened, and Yangtze Ocean's figure reappeared in the hall. Yangtze Ocean stood there, the sword energy of thunder flowing through his body like water, and the sword energy of thunder flowed like streams of thunder water, flowing endlessly. Yangtze Ocean opened his palm, and saw the sword of thunder flowing onto his palm, condensing into a sword ball of thunder. Then, he flicked his finger. Suddenly, the sword ball of thunder shot out, penetrated countless palaces of the Thunder God Cave Mansion, and hit a stone peak on the Kushi Ridge. The stone peak was blasted through without any suspense. The masters of the Washang Empire outside looked at the stone peak that was blasted through, and they were all horrified. Yangtze Ocean put away the Thunder God sword, and looked at the jade bottle next to the Thunder God sword. He curiously opened the jade bottle, and suddenly, amazing thunder energy rose, and the surging power of thunder rushed out, performing all kinds of strange phenomena. Ninefold heaven tribulation thunder water. Uncle Ding's surprised voice sounded. Yangtze Ocean also looked at the jade bottle in front of him with a look of astonishment. He had never expected that there would be ninefold heaven tribulation thunder water in the jade bottle. Moreover, the space inside the jade bottle was not small, and there should be 70 or 80 mouthfuls of ninefold heaven tribulation thunder water inside. After being astonished, Yangtze Ocean was overjoyed. Last time, Uncle Ding had used up the last mouthful of ninefold heaven tribulation thunder water in his body in order to severely injure the immortal death god. These days, he has been looking for and asking about the whereabouts of the ninefold heaven tribulation thunder water. There is actually some in this thunder god's cave. In the eternal heaven tomb, the immortal death god was severely injured and left a harsh word, saying that he would definitely come back to find him. These days, Yangtze Ocean was very worried. Now, there are so many ninefold heaven tribulation thunder water, so there is no need to worry about the immortal death god coming back again. Yangtze Ocean cherished the ninefold heaven tribulation thunder water in the jade bottle 100 times. He searched the hall again, and after making sure that there was nothing else, he opened the door and walked out. The disciples outside were still there. Seeing Yangtze Ocean coming out, everyone was shocked and retreated. Yangtze Ocean ignored everyone and walked towards the cave gate. At this time, outside the Thunder God Cave, the Washang Imperial family disciple who was hit by Yangtze Ocean's fist was complaining to Liu Yuan, the eldest prince of the Wuhuang Empire. Just as he was complaining, suddenly, a blue figure came out of the cave. "Brother, it's him who hit me." The Washang Imperial family disciple shouted immediately. Liu Yuan and everyone looked over. Seeing the blue figure clearly, Liu Yuan was suddenly like a thunderbolt exploding his body, and his hair stood up all over his body. There was only endless fear in his eyes. He fell to his knees with a plop, crawled on the ground, and trembled tightly against the ground. Liu Yuan greets Lord Yangshan. Lord Yangshan. Seeing Liu Yuan suddenly crawling on the ground, Kowtowing and calling the young man in front of him Lord Yangshan, all the masters of the Washang Empire were shocked. The Washang imperial family disciple was so scared that he almost fainted. A few days ago, the god of Yang returned and slaughtered Wu Peng's 17 gods. Now it has spread to all the major royal families and sects of the Dragon Empire. Who in the Dragon Empire doesn't know Yang Shen now? Who in the Dragon Empire doesn't know that Yang Shen is the terminator of gods? Lord Yang Shen. After being shocked, the masters of the Washang Empire knelt down one after another and prostrated themselves on the ground. Many masters of the Washang Empire shouted excitedly, as if worshipping a supreme god. The god of Yang returned and slaughtered Wu Peng's 17 gods. Now, Yang Xiaoshan is the only god for many masters of the Dragon Empire. In the hearts of many masters of the Dragon Empire, Yang Xiaoshan is their only god. Therefore, many masters and disciples at the scene even cried. They cried excitedly for being able to see Yang Xiaoshan. These are tears of happiness. Now, with Yang Xiaoshan's status, how can many warriors in the Dragon Empire see him? They feel extremely honored to be able to see Yang Xiaoshan. Yang Xiaoshan was shocked to see that all the masters of the Washang Empire were prostrating on the ground. Many of them were crying with excitement. He did not expect that these masters of the Washang Empire would worship him so fanatically. In fact, Yang Xiaoshan still underestimated his current influence. Who is Wu Peng? He is known as the two most powerful gods in the Shenlong Empire. In the past, Wu Peng was supreme and unshakable in the hearts of the warriors of the Shenlong Empire. But Yang Xiaoshan slaughtered all the 17 gods of the 4 major sects of Wu Peng and Tang Han. What a stunning feat. Although it was not Yang Xiaoshan's own action, it still did not prevent countless warriors in the Shenlong Empire from worshipping him fanatically. Yang Xiaoshan glanced at the Washang royal disciple and said to Liu Yuan, "Is he your brother?" Liu Yuan trembled. "Yes, he is my brother." He didn't know that Lord Yang Shen had offended you and begged you to spare his life and forgive my Washang royal lineage. Hearing Liu Yuan asking him to forgive the Washang royal lineage, Yang Xiaoshan was speechless. "It doesn't seem so serious, right?" he said to Liu Yuan and the others. "Everyone get up." After that, he broke through the air and disappeared into the sky in the blink of an eye. "Farewell, Lord Yang." The masters of the Washang Empire shouted excitedly. After leaving the Washang Empire, Yang Xiaoshan rushed back to the True Dragon sect without stopping. When he returned to Tangshan Peak, it was already late at night. Tangshan Peak was still brightly lit. His parents Huang Ying, Yang Chao, his sister Yang Linga and others were standing in front of the palace gate, looking anxious. Obviously, everyone was worried about Yang Xiaoshan not coming back for a long time. Seeing this scene, Yang Xiaoshan felt warm in his heart. In his previous life, he had a family that loved him. In this life, he also has a family that loves him. How lucky. In the following days, Yang Xiaoshan did not go anywhere, but practiced in Tangshan Peak. Every day, he swallowed the life spirit liquid in the 6th heaven tribulation thunder water to practice the dragon technique and tried to improve his blood and ki. After a month, seeing that the blood and ki was still improving too slowly, Yang Xiaoshan changed the 6th heaven tribulation thunder water to the 9th heaven tribulation thunder water. Every day, he swallowed a mouthful of life spirit liquid and a mouthful of 9-layer heaven tribulation thunder water. Under the effect of the 9-layer heaven tribulation thunder water, Yang Xiaoxiao's ki and blood were constantly improving at an astonishing speed. Chapter 381 Let's go meet Mr. Yang. As his ki and blood improved, Yang Xiaoshan's strength also improved steadily. Yang Xiaoshan, who was originally at the 9th level of the Martial Emperor, steadily broke through to the 10th level of the Martial Emperor. Yang Xiaoshan's ki and blood also reached 8,000 miles. Seeing the amazing effect of the 9-layered heavenly tribulation thunder water, Yang Xiaoshan was both happy and sad. You know, every mouthful of the 9-layered heavenly tribulation thunder water is a treasure. A mouthful of the 9-layered heavenly tribulation thunder water can severely injure the immortal death god once, and every mouthful is one less. In the future, it will be difficult for Yang Xiaoshan to find the 9-layered heavenly tribulation thunder water again. In addition to practicing the beginning dragon art and improving his ki and blood, Yang Xiaoshan also took time to look through the heaven stepping sword technique, the ancient god sword technique, the dragon subduing sword technique, and the matter sword technique every day. Previously, he attacked and destroyed the 4 major sects. In addition to obtaining the treasure houses of the 4 major sects, he also obtained all the martial arts secrets of the 4 major sects. However, if he finished looking through all the secrets and magical powers of the 4 major sects, it would take an unknown time. So Yang Xiaoshan mainly looked through the strongest swordsmanship of the 4 major sects. Perhaps because of the 13 sword hearts, Yang Xiaoshan found it extremely easy to comprehend the sword techniques such as the heaven stepping sword technique and the ancient god sword technique. He could comprehend them almost at once. In addition to practicing sword techniques during the day, Yang Xiaoshan mainly accompanied his family and occasionally instructed them in their practice. 2 years later, his father and mother had already broken through the innate realm and entered the realm of the king of martial arts. As for his sister Yang Linga, her improvement was even faster. Autumn passed and winter came. It was another deep winter. The snow was white. Yang Xiaoshan practiced the heaven-breaking sword technique, the thunder of the 9 heavens, the Kangshan sword technique, and the 1000 Buddha sword technique in the back mountain, and then practiced all the sword techniques he had practiced before. The heaven-breaking sword technique, the dragon-controlling sword technique, the skywalking 1000 swords, one after another supreme magical power was displayed in Yang Xiaoshan's hands. At the end of the practice, Yang Xiaoshan even disrupted all the sword techniques to practice. The previous sword was the dragon controlling sword technique, and the next sword was the skywalking 1000 swords. The third sword became the heaven breaking sword technique again. Yang Xiaoshan was completely unrestrained. He was completely immersed in the world of swordsmanship. Yang Xiaoshan could use all kinds of swordsmanship effortless, as if it was natural, without any awkwardness or stiffness. As he practiced various swordsmanship, Yang Xiaoshan had a new understanding of swordsmanship. It was not until the evening that Yang Xiaoshan stopped. Looking at the world and the snow in front of him, Yang Xiaoshan had a jade pendant in his hand. This jade pendant was the Xian Long pendant that Long Qingxuan gave him in the Red Moon Forest. Originally, this time, he thought he would be able to see Long Qingxuan when he came back, but Long Jie and Long Lan told him that after he left the Dragon Empire last time, Long Qingxuan had been taken away by the 100 Flowers Sword God and was now practicing with the 100 Flowers Sword God. The 100 Flowers Sword God is one of the 2 major female sword gods in the Kangshan continent. Yang Xiaoshan was happy for Long Qingxuan to practice with the 100 Flowers Sword God. Brother. At this time, his sister Yang Linga came behind Yang Xiaoshan and said playfully, "Are you thinking about Sister Qingxuan again?" Yang Xiaoshan nodded. Yang Linga smiled and said, "Then you can go to Beihua Mountain to find Sister Qingxuan." Then he blinked and said, "I heard that Beihua sect has many male disciples." Yang Xiaoshan tapped the girl's forehead and said, "You are so smart." Yang Linga stuck out her tongue, took Yang Xiaoshan's arm, and said with a smile, "My mother asked me to come and call you. She made the cakes you like. Let's go back and eat." Yang Xiaoshan smiled and said, "You only know how to eat. I have gained weight since I came back." These days, Mother Huang makes all kinds of cakes for him and his sister almost every day. The 2 siblings walked back to the palace, talking and laughing all the way. Now it will be the new year in half a month. Yang Xiaoshan plans to celebrate the new year with his family and then go to the Wanzhen Empire to participate in the assessment of Kangshan Academy. Kangshan Academy brings together the top and most evil geniuses from hundreds of empires in Kangshan continent. Yang Xiaoshan also wants to see the top and most evil geniuses from the major empires in their Kangshan continent. Knowing that Yang Xiaoshan is going to Kangshan Academy after the new year, Yang Linga pouted and said she would go too. Seeing his parents' expectant look, Yang Xiaoshan thought for a moment and said that he would let Liao Meng come back to pick everyone up after he joined Kangshan Academy and everything settled down. Just when Yang Xiaoshan was thinking about going to Kangshan Academy after the new year, a group of uninvited guests came to the Shenlong Empire. The visitor was none other than the Qinglian Sword God. In addition to the Qinglian Sword God, Liu Xingyu, the ancestor of the Tangshan divine sect of the Foyuan Empire, was also accompanying him. The return of the Qinglian Sword God soon spread throughout the Shenlong Empire, and the Shenlong Empire was shocked. The Kinglian sword god was the only sword god who had left the Shenlong Empire, and he was the supreme glory and pride of the Shenlong Empire. I heard that a few days ago, Yang Xiaoshan asked the masters of Kinglian restaurant to act as thugs to attack the 4 major sects, causing the death of more than 100 masters of Kinglian restaurant. This time, the owner Li Hong invited Kinglian sword god back to let him take charge of Kinglian restaurant. Although Kinglian restaurant was founded by Li Dong is the direct disciple of Kinglian sword god. I'm afraid Kinglian sword god will not be able to swallow this breath. Will Kinglian sword god fight with Yang Shen? Who is stronger, Kinglian sword god or the one from Moyuan Ridge? This time, it seems that the ancestor of Tangshan sect has come. The strong men from all sides of the Shenlong Empire speculated. At this time, in the main hall of Kinglian restaurant, Liu Xinggai was shocked and stared at Li Hong. What did you say, Yang Xiaoshan? Li Hong, Kinglian sword god and others were all surprised to see Liu Xinggai's reaction. Yes, it's Yang Xiaoshan. Li Hong said. Yang Xiaoshan somehow subdued the demon ape in Demon Ape Ridge. He relied on the demon ape to kill innocent people indiscriminately and asked the masters of our Kinglian restaurant to be his thugs to attack the 4 major sects. He caused my Kinglian restaurant to lose more than 100 masters who were in charge of one side. Please ask Lord Sword God and Lord Tangshan Divine Sect to take charge of our Kinglian restaurant. When Liu Xinggai heard Li Hong say that Yang Xiaoshan killed innocent people indiscriminately, he was furious. He suddenly smashed the table with a palm. You are so bold. How dare you? You must know that Yang Xiaoshan is now the new leader of Tangshan Divine Sect. Li Hong actually dared to say that their leader killed innocent people indiscriminately. Is this looking for death? Liu Xinggai suddenly became furious, which scared Li Hong, Li Dong and others. Li Hong trembled and nodded, not understanding why Liu Xinggai was suddenly so angry. Even the Green Lotus Sword God was surprised. He was the registered disciple of Lord Hangfeng, and Liu Xinggai was the strongest ancestor of the Tangshan Divine Sect in the Kangshan continent. The two were old friends, and he rarely saw Liu Xinggai so angry. Brother Liu, what are you doing? The Green Lotus Sword God couldn't help but wonder and asked. Liu Xinggai suppressed his anger and said to the Green Lotus Sword God, Kinglian, there are some things I can't tell you now. Without Yang Xiaoshan's order, he didn't dare to reveal Yang Xiaoshan's identity. He turned to Li Hong and said coldly, whoever dares to disrespect young Master Yang in the future will be disrespectful to my Tangshan Divine Sect. Kill without mercy. Kill without mercy. Li Hong, Li Dong and others all changed their faces. The Green Lotus Sword God was even more surprised. Kinglian, let's go and see young Master Yang now. Liu Xinggai said to the Green Lotus Sword God. Now, the Green Lotus Sword God looked at the sky. It was already late at night. Now, Liu Xinggai said with certainty. Chapter 382 Liu Xinggai meets the leader. Seeing Liu Xinggai's serious look, the Green Lotus Sword God was even more surprised and nodded. Okay, I'll go with you to see Yang Xiaoshan now. After that, he and Liu Xinggai stood up. The Green Lotus Sword God asked Li Dong, Li Hong and others to wait for his news at the Green Lotus restaurant. With the farewell of Li Dong, Li Hong and others, the Green Lotus Sword God and Liu Xinggai broke through the air and disappeared in everyone's sight in the blink of an eye. Li Hong looked at the Green Lotus Sword God and Liu Xinggai who left, and for some reason, he had a bad premonition. The Green Lotus Sword God and Liu Xinggai turned into two sword beams, cutting through the heavy darkness, and kept rushing towards the True Dragon Sect. At full speed, the two finally arrived at the gate of the True Dragon Sect. The disciples of the True Dragon Sect who were patrolling did not know the Green Lotus Sword God, and they were immediately shocked when they saw the two coming. When they heard that the person in front of them was actually the Green Lotus Sword God, the disciples of the True Dragon Sect were shocked and frightened. They bowed and saluted quickly, and then hurried back to report to the sect leader Hunan. When Hunan heard that the Green Lotus Sword God was coming, he was also shocked. He quickly asked someone to report to the ancestors Li Zhenqing and Tyrannosaurus Rex, and then he led a group of ancestors to meet the Green Lotus Sword God. At the same time, Hunan was uneasy. He also heard some news that the Green Lotus Sword God came back to give justice to the Green Lotus restaurant. Could it be that the Green Lotus Sword God came late at night for this matter? When Lee King and Tyrannosaurus Rex heard that the Green Lotus Sword God was coming, they also quickly slipped out of the cave to meet the Green Lotus Sword God. The Green Lotus Sword God introduced Li using Guyu's identity to Lee King and Hunan. When Lee King and Hunan heard that the person in front of them was the Tangshan Divine Sect's ancestor Li using Gaiu, they were also shocked and hurried to greet him. Seeing Lee King and Hunan's uneasy look, Li using Gaiu explained, "We came here without any ill intentions, but simply wanted to see young Master Yang." Lee King and Hunan were relieved when they heard it. So, they quickly brought the Green Lotus Sword God and Li using Gaiu to Tangshan Peak. When Li using Gaiu arrived at Tangshan Peak, he became nervous. He said to Lee King, "Dao Yao Li, it's late at night. Let's not disturb young Master Yang. Let's wait here for one night. When it's dawn tomorrow, we can go in and see young Master Yang." Lee King and Tyrannosaurus Rex were both shocked. "See you tomorrow? Li using Gaiu and Kinglian Sword God have to wait here for one night." At this moment, suddenly, a voice floated out from Tangshan Peak. "Come in." It was Yang Xiaoshan's voice. When Li using Gaiu heard that it was Yang Xiaoshan's voice, his whole body was shocked, and he quickly bowed and said, "Yes." Lee King, Tyrannosaurus Rex and others were stunned when they saw Li using Gaiu's respectful look. Even Kinglian Sword God was stunned and didn't understand what Li using Gaiu was doing. So, Li using Gaiu and Kinglian Sword God entered Tangshan Peak. When Lee King and Tyrannosaurus Rex wanted to follow, Li using Gaiu stopped them and said that he didn't want others to be present when he met Yang Xiaoshan. Hearing this, Lee King and Tyrannosaurus Rex could only wait outside. Seeing this, the Green Lotus Sword God was even more confused. Li using Gaiu and the Green Lotus Sword God entered Tangshan Peak and walked into the palace. After they entered the palace, they saw a tall and straight young man standing in the hall. The young man's eyes were like stars, and just standing there, he had a momentum that could swallow the sky and spit out the earth. It was Yang Xiaoshan. When Li using Gaiu saw that it was Yang Xiaoshan, he was shocked and hurried forward, then knelt in front of Yang Xiaoshan and said excitedly, "Li using Gaiu greets the Lord. Lord, long live the Lord." Li using Gaiu greets the Lord. Long live the Lord. The Green Lotus Sword God looked at Li using Gaiu, who was kneeling on the ground, and looked at the young man in front of him in shock. "Yang Xiaoshan he is from the Tangshan Divine Sect? Exclamation mark. Brother Liu, he is?" The Green Lotus Sword God still couldn't believe it. Li using Gaiu nodded to the Green Lotus Sword God. After receiving Li using Gaiu's confirmation, the Green Lotus Sword God took a deep breath. He looked at the young man in front of him, and also stepped forward, bowing excitedly. "Kinglian greets the master." He was a registered disciple of the Lord of Hanfeng, and naturally also a disciple of the Tangshan Divine Sect, and he had a very high status in the Tangshan Divine Sect. Yang Xiaoshan said to Li using Gaiu, "Liu protector, there is no need to be polite." Then he asked Li using Gaiu to stand up. He came to the Green Lotus Sword God and personally helped the Green Lotus Sword God up. "Brother, there is no need to be polite." Hearing Yang Xiaoshan calling him brother, the Green Lotus Sword God still couldn't suppress his excitement. He looked at Yang Xiaoshan in front of him and said excitedly, Good, the master's mantle finally has a successor. I'm lucky for Tangshan. I'm lucky for the Wanjian continent." Back then at the Wangshan Peak of the Xianzang Academy, Yang Xiaoshan and Wei Zhangyuan had a battle. The two divine golden pills made Kinglian unforgettable for his whole life. He didn't expect that Yang Xiaoshan would be the new leader of his Tangshan Divine Sect. This made the Green Lotus Sword God very excited. Afterwards, Yang Xiaoshan, Li using Gaiu and Kinglian Sword Gods talked about the Tangshan Sect. Kinglian Sword God said respectfully to Yang Xiaoshan, "Master, Tangshan Sect still needs you to go back and preside over the overall situation. Hanfeng, the master of the Tangshan Sect, has not been in the Tangshan Sect for many years. The huge Tangshan Sect is undercurrent, and now it is in urgent need of Yang Xiaoshan, the new master, to return." Li using Gaiu had mentioned the matter of the Tangshan Sect to Yang Xiaoshan before. Yang Xiaoshan pondered and said, "Wait a few years. He is still weak now, and I'm afraid it will be difficult to convince the public." Therefore, Yang Ocean plans to wait a few years, wait for his strength to improve, and then go to Wanjian continent to preside over the Tangshan sect. At least he has to wait until he becomes the emperor and condenses the 14 strongest destinies. When he presides over the Tangshan sect, he can barely convince the public. Knowing Yang Ocean's decision, King Lian Sword God and Liu Xinggai did not dare to force it. Afterwards, Yang Ocean asked about the whereabouts of Hangfeng, the master of the Tangshan sect. The Green Lotus Sword God shook his head. I haven't seen master for many years. Outside Tangshan Peak, Li Zhenqing and Tyrannosaurus Rex saw that the Green Lotus Sword God and Liu Xinggai had not come out for a long time after entering Tangshan Peak, and there was no movement, and they couldn't help but wonder. Just as the two were secretly guessing what the Green Lotus Sword God and Liu Xinggai wanted to see Yang Ocean for, they saw two figures flying out of Tangshan Peak. They were the Green Lotus Sword God and Liu Xinggai. Seeing the Green Lotus Sword God and Liu Xinggai coming out, Li Zhenqing and the others hurried to greet them. When the Green Lotus Sword God saw Li Zhenqing coming over, he smiled at Li Zhenqing and said, "Brother Li, the True Dragon sect and the Kinglian restaurant must get closer in the future." When Li Zhenqing heard this, he was very happy and flattered. "Don't worry, Master Kinglian, the True Dragon sect will definitely not let Master Kinglian down." Afterwards, the Green Lotus Sword God and Li Zhenqing exchanged some pleasantries, and then he and Liu Xinggai flew away from the True Dragon sect. The next day, it was just dawn. The Green Lotus Sword God then announced that the True Dragon sect would be the most sincere ally of the Green Lotus restaurant from now on. When the news came out, the Dragon Empire was in an uproar. Shouldn't the Green Lotus Sword God come back to take charge of the Green Lotus restaurant? How come he became an ally instead? I heard that the Green Lotus Sword God personally went to see the God Yang late last night. I don't know what the two said, but the True Dragon sect and the Green Lotus restaurant became allies. Then, another news came out that Li Han was removed from his position as the owner of the Green Lotus restaurant, and from now on, the Green Lotus restaurant would be managed by Li Dong again. Chapter 383. This place is a bit weird. Although Li Han was removed from the position of the owner of Kinglian Restaurant, many people were surprised that Li Dong took over Kinglian Restaurant again, but they did not think too much about it. After Kinglian Sword God and Liu Xinggai left, Tangshan Peak regained its former tranquility. Yang Ocean, as usual, practiced various swordsmanship in the back mountain during the day, and swallowed the 9 heavenly tribulation thunder water and life spirit liquid to practice at night. Unknowingly, the new year is coming. Tangshan Peak is very lively. The ancestors, the supreme elders, and the elders of each peak of the True Dragon sect came to wish Yang Ocean a happy new year. Even Li Zhenqing and Tyrannosaurus Rex came. A disciple can make all the ancestors of the sect wish him a happy new year. Probably only Yang Ocean is the only one. This year, Yang Ocean gave Zyajin, King, Wookie and others a super gift package, each of which was a space ring. Inside the space ring, there were spirit stones, elixirs, martial arts secrets, and many rare treasures. Of course, there were also lollipops. Yang Ocean's red envelopes for his sister and parents were naturally bigger. Yang Linga was so happy holding the super space ring that her face blossomed. Then she pouted and said she wanted to. Huang Ying's New Year's gift to Yang Ocean and his sister was clothes she made by herself. She knew that Yang Ocean liked to wear light blue robes, so she chose the material of light blue. Yang Linga wore a light yellow dress. Both were the colors that her siblings liked. "Thank you, mother." Yang Ocean put on the clothes made by his mother and felt warm. Huang Ying smiled and said, "When you marry King Sun, I will make you a set of wedding clothes." Yang Ocean didn't know how to respond for a moment. He knew that his mother liked King Sun very much, and had already decided that King Sun was her daughter-in-law. New Year's Eve is Yang Ocean's favorite moment of the year. The family sat together and happily ate the reunion dinner. There were no rare animals, but the table was full of food made by his mother and father. Father Yang Cheo took out a jar of wine and smiled at Yang Ocean. "I brewed this myself. I brewed 100 jars. You can try it. This is brewed by your father specially for you. He found a lot of ancient books and brewed it according to the methods in the ancient books." Mother Huang Ying smiled. "Thank you, father." Yang Xiaoshan smiled and then took a sip. It was very mellow. He nodded and smiled at Yang Chao. It tastes good. Yang Chao smiled. I want to drink it too. Yang Linga suddenly said. What kind of wine is a little girl drinking? Huang Ying said unhappily. Mother, I just drink a sip, a small one. I spent the new year happily with my family. On the 7th day of the first lunar month, Yang Xiaoshan and the demon ape set off for Kangshen Academy. However, before going to Kangshen Academy, Yang Xiaoshan planned to go to the Death Sword Tomb to see if he could find the Sword of Eternal Night. If he could find the Sword of Eternal Night, that would be the best. If not, he would go to Kangshen Academy to find the Divine Shadow Sword. Soon, Yang Xiaoshan and others arrived at the Death Sword Tomb. The Death Sword Tomb is somewhat similar to the Eternal Burial Ground. At first glance, it is full of tombs, but the Death Sword Tomb is almost all buried with swords, and only a very small number of evil and magic masters, while the Eternal Burial Ground is full of people. Looking at the Death Sword Tomb in front of them, the Demon Ape, Bingai Killin and others all felt a throbbing feeling in their hearts. The Death Sword Tomb is even more evil and terrifying than the Eternal Burial Ground. Because everyone who entered the Death Sword Tomb disappeared, and no one could come out alive. Even if a master of the divine realm went in, the result would be the same, like a stone sinking into the sea, and there would be no news. Therefore, even a fierce and powerful person like the Demon Ape would be very scared when facing the Death Sword Tomb. Old Ape, Old Bing, you all wait for me outside, I can go in by myself. Yang Xiaoshan thought about it, and said to the Demon Ape, Young master, let's go in together. The Demon Ape wanted to say that he would go in with Yang Xiaoshan. Yang Xiaoshan shook his head. I have Master Ding here. I will be fine. I will come out within 10 days. The Demon Apes knew how strong Master Ding was, so they did not insist, and waited for Yang Xiaoshan outside the Sword Tomb. So, Yang Xiaoshan flew into the Death Sword Tomb alone. The Eternal Burial Ground was shrouded in death, but the sky above the Death Sword Tomb was not shrouded in death, but a light green gas. This light green gas was gloomy and cold, which made people feel cold. Be careful. Master Ding also said, this place is a bit weird. Hearing that, even Master Ding said this place was weird, Yang Xiaoshan's face was solemn. In order to prevent accidents, Yang Xiaoshan directly summoned the 1000 Buddha's divine fire, or 1000 Buddha shadows entangled around Yang Xiaoshan's body. Under the illumination of the Buddha flame, the light green gas became much lighter. However, it was only lighter, and the 1000 Buddha's divine fire could not completely incinerate this light green gas. Seeing this, Yang Xiaoshan became more cautious. He walked forward carefully all the way, and at the same time, he urged the power of 13 sword hearts, and began to sense the existence of the Sword of Eternal Night. As he gathered more and more sword hearts, the power of the sword hearts became stronger and stronger. If the Sword of Eternal Night was really in the Death Sword Tomb, he would definitely be able to sense it. That's why Yang Xiaoshan decided to venture into the Death Sword Tomb. One day passed. The sky darkened. The Death Sword Tomb was filled with gusts of cold wind, and it became stronger and stronger, just like the underworld. The cold wind was so strong that people couldn't open their eyes at all, and even Yang Xiaoshan had difficulty moving forward. Yang Xiaoshan could only find a sword burial tomb to stay in for a night, and wait until the next day at dawn, before continuing to look for the Sword of Eternal Night. This went on for several days. After a few days, Yang Xiaoshan did find a lot of good swords, and even found a heavenly sword, but he never saw the Sword of Eternal Night. As Yang Xiaoshan went deeper, the cold wind became stronger and stronger, and the light green gas in the sky became thicker and thicker. When he first entered the Sword Tomb, these gases were still light green, and as he went deeper, these gases were already dark green, so dark that they were black. Yang Xiaoshan's soul was strong, but under the cover of these gases, he actually had an illusion, as if he had come to the underworld of hell. Wake up. Suddenly, Master Ding shouted. Yang Xiaoshan, who had entered the illusion, had his soul sea exploded, and he woke up in shock. After waking up, he was covered in cold sweat. If it weren't for Master Ding, he would have been trapped in this horrible illusion forever. Yang Xiaoshan had some idea of why those masters who entered the Sword Tomb disappeared. At this time, Master Ding emitted a ball of light, which enveloped Yang Xiaoshan, making him unaffected by the illusion. Yang Xiaoshan continued to move forward. On the 5th day after Yang Xiaoshan entered the sword tomb, he finally sensed a powerful sword power. Yang Xiaoshan was surprised. Such a powerful sword power must be a magic sword. Only a magic sword has such power. At that moment, he quickly walked forward in the direction of the induction, and soon came to a large tomb. The powerful sword power was in this tomb. However, he looked around, and found that there was no entrance or exit to this tomb. After thinking about it, Yang Xiaoshan used the innate soul skill of the Black Dragon Martial Soul, Space Concealment, to penetrate through the tomb, and come to the tomb. Chapter 384, Undefeated Hades. There was an ancient coffin in the tomb, and the powerful sword power came from the ancient coffin. Yang Xiaoshan came to the ancient coffin, pushed the coffin lid with both hands, and the heavy coffin lid was slowly pushed open. When the coffin lid was completely opened, Yang Xiaoshan looked inside, and saw a young man with excellent temperament lying in the ancient coffin. The other party was wearing an emperor's robe, and had a noble aura. Even though he had been dead for many years, he was still intimidating. Next to the young man, there was a completely dark sword. From the sword body to the scabbard to the hilt, it was completely dark. Moreover, this darkness was different from ordinary darkness. Ordinary darkness was just darkness, while the darkness of this sword carried a cold power. This darkness was an extreme darkness. This was the sword of eternal night. Looking at the sword of eternal night in front of him, Yang Xiaoshan was delighted. He stretched out his hand and grasped it, and was about to pick up the sword of eternal night. But what surprised him was that the sword of eternal night did not move at all. Yang Xiaoshan used all his strength to circulate his true essence, and his whole body was full of light, but he still couldn't pick it up. This surprised Yang Xiaoshan, and he looked at the young man. If he guessed correctly, this young man should be the Eternal Night God Emperor. Obviously, the Eternal Night Sword wanted to stay by the Eternal Night God Emperor's side. Seeing this, Yang Xiaoshan said, "Don't worry, you will follow me in the future, and I will treat you as well as the Eternal Night God Emperor." At this point, the power of the 13 sword hearts surged, covering the Eternal Night Sword. Affected by the power of the 13 sword hearts, the Eternal Night Sword, which had been motionless and unchanged, burst out with a strong dark light. The entire tomb was swallowed by the dark light. Everything in the tomb lost its light. Only Yang Xiaoshan's 13 sword hearts were not affected by the dark light. Yang Xiaoshan stretched out his hand and grasped the Eternal Night Sword again. This time, the Eternal Night Sword did not resist and was easily picked up by Yang Xiaoshan. Looking at this Eternal Night Sword, Yang Xiaoshan liked it more and more. Legend has it that the Eternal Night God Emperor held the Eternal Night Sword and swung it, and everything within a radius of 10,000 miles entered the Eternal Night. All people, all living beings, and everything were covered by the Eternal Night, and even the strange fire had to be extinguished under the cover of the Eternal Night. This shows the power of the Eternal Night Sword. Immediately, Yang Xiaoshan began to refine the Eternal Night Sword. Under the power of the 13 sword hearts, he soon refined the Eternal Night Sword. He put away the Eternal Night Sword, and then found a sword secret book in the coffin, which was the Eternal Night Sword. He glanced at it, put it away, bowed to the Eternal Night God Emperor, and then closed the coffin lid again, and then left the tomb. Just after Yang Xiaoshan came out of the tomb, and was about to leave the Death Sword tomb, suddenly, a mysterious voice came from the deepest space of the sword tomb. This voice was pervasive, and was about to drill into the deepest part of Yang Xiaoshan's soul. Suddenly, a light from the Ding Yao lit up, and enveloped Yang Xiaoshan, which completely blocked the voice out. What is this? Yang Xiaoshan was surprised. It's the sound of bewitching souls. Uncle Ding said, a sound that controls people's souls. Once controlled by this sound, they will completely lose themselves. It's more troublesome than the illusion you had before. Then he said in a deep voice, the person who casts this sound of bewitching souls is very powerful. Even gods can hardly resist it. Even gods can hardly resist it? Yang Xiaoshan saw Uncle Ding's solemn look and asked, how does it compare to the immortal death god? It's hard to say. Uncle Ding pondered. Yang Xiaoshan was surprised. In the deepest part of the Death Sword tomb, there is actually such a terrifying existence. Who is this person? All the masters who entered the Death Sword Tomb before disappeared. Could it be related to this person? Let's go in and take a look, Uncle Ding said. Yang Xiaoshan thought about it, shook his head, and forgot it. It's better to have less trouble than more. Although he still has a lot of 9-layer heavenly tribulation thunder and water, he still has to keep it for cultivating blood and dealing with the immortal death god. So, Yang Xiaoshan flew out of the sword tomb quickly. That voice was like a maggot attached to the bone, constantly following Yang Xiaoshan, trying to drill deep into Yang Xiaoshan's soul. However, with the protection of Ding Yi's light shield, Yang Xiaoshan was safe all the way, and finally got out of the sword tomb. The demon apes who were waiting anxiously outside the sword tomb were overjoyed to see Yang Xiaoshan come out and greeted him. Young master, are you okay? The demon ape asked. It's okay. Yang Xiaoshan shook his head and smiled. We found the things. Let's leave this place first. The Death Sword Tomb is so weird, it's better to leave early. So, he took the demon apes and left in the air. After leaving Zuyuan, Yang Xiaoshan told a few people about what he had encountered in the Death Sword Tomb in the past few days. When they heard Yang Xiaoshan say that there was a terrifying existence in the Sword Tomb that was no weaker than the undead god of death, the demon apes were all shocked. Could it be the undefeated god of the underworld? The devil ancestor of destruction was surprised. Back then, the Lord of the Kang god had two powerful enemies. One was the undefeated god of the underworld, and the other was the undead god of death. Some even say that the undefeated underworld god is the #1 enemy of the Lord of the Kang god. The undefeated underworld god can control all the ghosts and spirits in the world. The ghosts and spirits he controls are simply inexhaustible. The undefeated underworld god doesn't even need to take action himself. Just the hundreds of millions of ghosts and spirits can destroy everything in the world. It shouldn't be the undefeated underworld god. Bing and Killin said in surprise. The Lord of the Kang god cut off his head back then and sealed his head and body in different places. Everyone was also surprised. If it wasn't the undefeated underworld god, who else could it be? Yang Xiaoshan was in a heavy mood. Whether the other party was the undefeated underworld god or not, it was not good news. All the masters who entered the Death Sword Tomb should have been killed by the other party. This person is obviously not a decent person. If he is born, I'm afraid that the Kangshen continent will set off a bloody rain again. He still has to work hard to improve his strength. Although his current strength is far beyond that of disciples of the same age, he is still too weak in front of the masters of the divine realm. The Abyss spaceship passed through many spaces and flew to Kangshen Academy. In the secret room of the spaceship, Yang Xiaoshan practiced the Eternal Night Sword technique during the day and swallowed the 9 heavenly tribulation thunder water and life spirit liquid to practice at night. Finally, when he came to the 10,000 Gods Empire, his ki and blood broke through to the 10,000 miles circle. Of course, his strength had already broken through to the peak of the 10th level of the Martial Emperor, and he could break through to the Martial Honor Realm at any time. The general lifespan of Martial Emperor is 200 years, but once he breaks through to the Martial Honor Realm, his lifespan will increase greatly, and he can generally break through to 500 years. If the ki and blood are strong, some Martial Honors can even reach a lifespan of 600 or 700 years. The limit of the lifespan of Martial Honor is 1000 years, but 1000 years of lifespan is almost impossible for a Martial Honor to achieve. However, after entering the 10,000 Gods Empire, Yang Xiaoshan was not in a hurry to rush to Kangshen Academy, but found a place to break through to the Martial Honor Realm first. After all, you have to be a Martial Honor Realm to participate in the Kangshen Academy assessment. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 385 Kangshen Academy. After finding an unmanned mountain, Yang Xiaoshan asked the demon apes to protect him, then swallowed a Shian Pincer Neoenzajinden, and began to impact the realm of martial honor. As he ran the dragon art over and over again, Yang Xiaoshan's dragon essence surged all over his body. The power of the true dragon condensed around his body into true dragons. Finally, a dragon barrier was formed. A few days passed. A slight crack sounded in Yang Zai Ocean's body. Just like the ice melting and the earth being reborn, the vitality in his body became stronger and stronger. The demon apes were guarding outside, and suddenly, several of them opened their eyes at the same time, looking in surprise at the direction of Yang Zai Ocean. I saw a series of amazing 9-color dragon auras rising into the sky, and a vast dragon might was overwhelming the world. Even the demon apes felt an invisible pressure. This was the pressure from the soul. And the pressure was getting stronger and stronger. This lasted for a day. The 9-color dragon aura and dragon might gradually dissipated. The pressure on the souls of the demon apes disappeared. After a while, Yang Zai Ocean opened his eyes. After several days of hard training, he finally successfully broke through the realm of Wuzun. He felt the rich true essence in his body. This time, his true essence became several times richer, and his vitality also improved amazingly. His lifespan reached 1000 years, which is the limit of Wuzun's lifespan. When the Lord of Kangshan broke through Wuzun, his lifespan was also 1000 years. The lifespan of 1000 years is due to his huge blood. It is precisely because he broke through the blood to a radius of 10,000 miles, so he has a lifespan of 1000 years after breaking through Wuzun. After breaking through Wuzun, his body has undergone great changes from the inside to the outside. Whether it is strength or defense, there has been a qualitative improvement. Yang Zai Ocean sensed the acupoints in his body. There are 1296 acupoints in the human body. These acupoints are hidden in the deepest part of the human body. It is usually difficult to sense them. Only after breaking through to the realm of Wuzun can these acupoints be sensed. Under Yang Zai Ocean sensing, these acupoints are like tiny stars spread all over the body, faintly echoing the stars in the sky. However, these acupoints are still dim now, like lifeless stars. Only by opening these acupoints and infusing them with true essence can these acupoints light up and be full of vitality. The more acupoints you open, the stronger your body will be, and the stronger your vitality will be. If you can open all 1296 acupoints, your body can even achieve immortality, which means that even if you die, your body will not rot. However, it is too difficult to open all the acupoints. It is more difficult than condensing thousands of miles of blood and ki when you are a martial emperor. Not to mention opening all the acupoints. Even if you can open 365 acupoints and reach the number of the Great Zaoshan, it is also very rare. There are countless geniuses in the entire Kangshan continent. Those who can reach the number of the Great Zaoshan are all monsters among monsters. Some geniuses with strong true essence, after breaking through the martial honor, use the previous strong true essence and blood to open 12 acupoints in one fell swoop and reach the number of the small Zaoshan. Some geniuses can even open up 24 acupoints in one go, reaching 2 times the small Zaoshan. Of course, this is very rare. I wonder how many I can open up in one go? Yang Zai Ocean thought to himself. With his extremely strong true essence and blood, if he opens up the acupoints now, there will definitely be more than 24. It may be 5 times the small Zaoshan, or even 6 or 7 times the small Zaoshan. However, he is not in a hurry to open up the acupoints now. He has read the notes left by his master, Hang Feng Shenzhu. If the number of acupoints opened at one time can reach 10 times the small Zaoshan, it will be able to attract the power of heaven and earth to temper the body, which will be extremely important for future cultivation. Therefore, he will wait until his true essence and blood are more strong before opening up the acupoints. If he can open up 385 acupoints in one go and reach the number of the big Zaoshan in one go, then the rain from heaven will fall and enter his body. Then he will be able to cultivate his physical body to a level that defies the heavens. At that time, he can even surpass the immortal body. Yang Zai Ocean stood up and then continued on his way with the demon ape. Since they were not in a hurry to travel, they would occasionally stop for a while and go to a restaurant to drink when passing through some cities. However, after drinking the wine brewed by his father Yang Chao, he always felt that the taste of other wines was a little worse. The 10,000 Gods Empire is indeed the first empire of the Kangshan continent. It is extremely prosperous and powerful, with numerous sects and countless families. In the Dragon Empire, it is rare to see strong people in the Venerable Realm on the streets, but since entering the 10,000 Gods Empire, there are many strong people in the Venerable Realm. There are even many ancient beasts that are hard to see. Many big families tame these ancient beasts to pull their carriages. This 10,000 gods empire is full of strong people. Even the demon ape side, after entering the 10,000 gods empire. Bingayan Killen nodded and said, some people say that 90% of the gods in the Kangshen continent come from the 10,000 gods empire. Although it is an exaggeration, that 90% of the gods in the Kangshen continent come from the 10,000 gods dragon empire. It also shows the power of the 10,000 gods empire. The Tatian sect is the strongest sect in the Dragon Empire, but almost any super sect in the 10,000 gods empire can crush the Tatian sect. The Kangshen Academy is not located in the imperial capital of the 10,000 gods empire, but in an imperial kingdom not far from the imperial capital. Rather than saying that it is built in the imperial kingdom, it is better to say that the entire imperial kingdom is the Kangshen Academy. Due to the special nature of the Kangshen Academy, its square is full of powerful people from all sides of the Kangshen continent every day and every moment. When Yang Zai Ocean arrived at the Kangshen Academy, it was already dark, but the square in front of the Kangshen Academy was still crowded with people, and powerful people from major sects and families came in an endless stream. On the square, many powerful people were talking about the genius who performed amazingly in the recent Kangshen Academy assessment. Yan Long of the Yan family participated in the Kangshen Academy assessment a few days ago. Guess what the result was? Is it the Yan Long who has the supreme bone and the golden dragon bloodline? Yes, it's him. I heard that he participated in the Kangshen Academy assessment and hunted 10,000 beasts in the secret realm. What? 10,000? Everyone exclaimed. According to the regulations of Kangshen Academy, as long as one can kill 1,000 fierce beasts of the martial honor realm in the secret realm within one day, he will be considered to have passed the assessment. In the same realm, the strength of fierce beasts is generally stronger than that of humans. It is extremely difficult for a martial honor realm to hunt 100 fierce beasts of the same realm in one day, let alone hunt 1,000. However, Yan Long hunted a full 10,000. How amazing is this? I also heard that after he passed the assessment, he opened up 32 acupoints in one fell swoop on the day he came back. A powerful man from the sect said excitedly. Hearing that Yan Long actually opened up 28 acupoints in one fell swoop, everyone was shocked again. It is quite amazing to be able to open up 24 acupoints of twice the small Zaoshan in one fell swoop, but Yan Long opened up 32 in one fell swoop. You know, opening up acupoints becomes more and more difficult as you go back, and the true essence and blood required to consume each additional acupoint is very amazing. Yang Zai Ocean listened to everyone's discussion, but he remembered the Yan family disciple he met when he entered the Soul Sea to hunt the deep sea demon Kun. That Yan family disciple was called Yan Long. At that time, he just looked at the other person for a second longer, and the other person said he would dig out his eyes. Chapter 386, Fan Family Fancy. Yan Long? It's that guy. Bingayan Killen also remembered Yan Long whom he met in the Soul Sea. He still remembered Yan Long trying to dig out Yang Zai Ocean's eyes. So, when he heard that it was that guy, Bingayan Killen looked unhappy. Cheyenne King Li Mang also snorted, it's just hunting 10,000 beasts. If you take the test, you can easily hunt 20,000. Just as Cheyenne King Li Mang finished speaking, an unhappy voice sounded, hunting 20,000? Frogs in the well, where did you get the idiots? Do you idiots think you are hunting the Emperor Beast? Yang Zai Ocean and his friends looked over and saw several Yan family disciples coming over, staring at Yang Zai Ocean and Cheyenne King Li Mang with a bad face. These Yan family disciples were Yan Long's subordinates. Several people came to Yang Zai Ocean and his group. Yang Jun, the leader, glanced at Yang Zai Ocean and said, "Boy, is this your subordinate? How dare you talk about my son? You let him cut off one of his arms, otherwise, you and your servant will not survive tonight." The masters of the surrounding empires all retreated, fearing that they would be involved with Yang Zai Ocean and his group. Everyone looked at Yang Zai Ocean and the demon ape with pity. The Yan family is a giant in the Kangshen continent, and it is an existence that covers the sky with one hand in the Wanshen Empire. In the Wanshen Empire, who dares to talk about the faults of the Yan family? Whoever dares to talk about the faults of the Yan family will have his limbs cut off, or even be crushed to death on the spot. Even more serious, the family will be exterminated. This is the fate of offending the Yan family. Therefore, once a giant like the Yan family is involved, the masters of the major empires are cautious. When Yang Xiaoshan heard Yan Jun asking the Azure Thunder Python to cut off one of its arms, he said in a cold voice, "Get lost. Or die." Hearing that Yang Xiaoshan actually asked Yan Jun and several Yan family disciples to get lost or die, everyone at the scene took a deep breath. Sure enough, Yang Jun was furious when he heard it. "Boy, you are looking for death. Looking for death, you know. I don't need to know who you are. I will trample you to death now. I will trample all of you, the master and the servant, to death." At this point, he was about to take action. Stop. At this time, suddenly, a team of law enforcement disciples from the Kangshen Academy who were patrolling in the distance came over. "What are you doing?" Yang Jun frowned when he saw that they were law enforcement disciples from the Kangshen Academy, but he finally stopped. Liu Yunhu, the captain of the Kangshen Academy's law enforcement team, came to the Yan family's disciples and shouted, "Kangshen Academy has set a rule that no one is allowed to cause trouble in the Kangshen Academy Square. Yang Jun, don't think that, just because you are a disciple of the Yan family, I dare not arrest you. Liu Yunhu, don't make it too much. Which eye of yours saw me take action?" Yang Jun remained calm and then stared at Yang Xiaoshan. "Boy, you are lucky, but there is a long way to go, and we will meet again soon." After that, he left with the Yan family disciples. The demon ape stared at the Yan family disciples, his eyes full of bloodthirsty light. Liu Yunhu glanced at Yang Xiaoshan and the others, and then left with the Kangshen Academy law enforcement team. After Liu Yunhu left, the masters of the surrounding empires couldn't help but look at Yang Xiaoshan and the others, and whispered, "I wonder which empire this young man is from. No matter which empire he is from, if he offends the Yan family, he will die." An ancestor shook his head. However, for Yang Xiaoshan, this young man, no one paid much attention to him, and quickly changed the subject. The son of the Fan family has also signed up for the Kangshen Academy assessment today. I wonder how many beasts he can hunt. What? The son of the Fan family is here too? When everyone heard this, there was a strong commotion and everyone was shocked. The Fan family is the first family of the Great Fan Empire. Like the Yan family, they are both giants in the Kangshen continent. A super family like the Fan family, which has been passed down for millions of years, has countless disciples, and there are countless talented disciples. However, there is only one person who can be called Fanzi. You can imagine how difficult it is to become a Fanzi. The Fanzi of each generation of the Fan family is absolutely amazing. Fanzi of the Fan family. Yang Xiaoshan read it. Before coming, his senior brother King Lian Sword God had told him about some of the most amazing geniuses that appeared in the Kangshen continent in the past 10 years. One of them mentioned the son of the Fan family. "You wait here for me, I will go to sign up and take the assessment," Yang Xiaoshan said to the demon ape and the barbarian people. Several people responded respectfully. Then, Yang Xiaoshan came to the registration office. Wang, the deacon in charge of registration at Kangshen Academy, was surprised when he heard Yang Xiaoshan said he wanted to sign up for the exam. "Are you a martial master?" He obviously didn't believe that Yang Xiaoshan could be a martial master. After all, Yang Xiaoshan looked too young, only 14 or 15 years old. If he broke through to the martial master level at the age of 14 or 15, it would definitely be shocking. You should know that Fanzi of the Fan family, who participated in the exam a few hours ago, was already 17 years old. Even so, breaking through to the martial master level at the age of 17 was shocking. Yang Xiaoshan immediately circulated his true essence, and suddenly, a powerful aura was released. Although Yang Xiaoshan had tried his best to suppress his true essence and only released 1/20th of it, the powerful aura still surprised Wang and the masters around him. Martial master. This boy's really a martial master. How old is he? 14. A 14-year-old martial master is rare in the world. However, fast cultivation does not necessarily mean good talent. He may have improved so quickly by swallowing elixirs and natural treasures. The people around him discussed. After Wang Wan confirmed that Yang Xiaoshan was a martial master, he gave Yang Xiaoshan an assessment token, imprinted Yang Xiaoshan's name on it, and then told Yang Xiaoshan about the assessment rules, and then opened the door to the secret realm leading to the assessment. Yang Xiaoshan flashed into the secret realm. Not far away, Yan's disciple Yan Jun, who had not walked far, looked at Yang Xiaoshan's figure entering the secret realm, his face cold. I didn't expect this kid to be a martial master. It's okay to be a martial master. Look at his aura just now. It's far worse than our young masters. Our young master's true essence is much stronger than his. Another Yan's disciple said, even if he participates in the assessment, he may not pass it. Yang Jun nodded. Wait until this kid comes out of the secret realm, and we will settle accounts with him. Several people left. After Yang Xiaoshan entered the secret realm, he came to a primeval forest. Looking up, the primeval forest is endless, and there are constant roars of ferocious beasts, and powerful auras are everywhere in the forest. The assessment rules of Kangshen Academy are very simple. If you can hunt down 1,000 fierce beasts in the martial honor realm within a day, you can pass the assessment. The fierce beasts here have very strong bloodlines. Although the weakest one is at the martial honor realm 1, even a martial honor realm 1 can easily kill a human master at the martial honor realm 2. Therefore, it is not easy to hunt down a fierce beast here. As for hunting down 1,000 beasts within a day, it can be said to be very difficult. Suddenly, with a roar, a huge black tiger king pounced on Yang Xiaoshan. This tiger king was surprisingly at the martial honor realm 3. Chapter 387 The 14th Sword Heart. Looking at the powerful Tiger King that was rushing over, Yang Xiaoshan didn't even look at it. He swung the sword of eternal night in his hand, and suddenly, a ray of eternal night sword light flashed and disappeared. Then a column of blood gushed up, and the Tiger King's head that rushed over had already rolled to the ground. Even if Yang Xiaoshan hasn't opened up a single acupoint yet, with the extremely strong true essence of Yang Xiaoshan's 2 divine golden pills, he can easily kill the 4th, 5th, or even 6th level beasts of the martial arts. When the Tiger King's head fell to the ground, a ray of light sank into his assessment token. There was an extra ball of light in the space of his assessment token. As long as he hunted enough 1,000 beasts, there would be an extra 1,000 balls of light in the space of his assessment token, and then he would be able to pass the assessment. Yang Xiaoshan continued to walk forward, and he didn't hide his breath, and walked at will. Although there were beasts of the 10th level of the realm of the master in the secret realm, with his current combat power and defense, he was not afraid, even if he faced a beast of the 10th level of the realm of the master. Not long after walking, he encountered another beast. This beast was weaker than the Tiger King just now, but it was only at the 2nd level of the realm of honor. Yang Xiaoshan still killed it with one sword. He did not use the Tangshan sword technique and the Lidong Jiushan sword technique, nor did he use the Kangshan sword technique, but used the Yangai sword technique. These days on the road, he has already mastered the Yangai sword technique, and he is only one step away from understanding the Yangai sword Dao and condensing the 14th sword heart. Therefore, Yang Xiaoshan plans to use these beasts to hone his Yangai sword technique, comprehend the Yangai sword Dao thoroughly, condense the 14th sword heart in the secret realm. Sword rises to the eternal night. With one sword from Yang Xiaoshan, the space around him instantly fell into the eternal night, and the sword energy shot out from the eternal night, penetrating through the layers of space. A beast of the 4th level of the realm of honor was directly knocked away a few miles away. When it landed, its breath was gone. I saw that its forehead had been pierced by the sword energy. When the beast died, its eyes were wide open and its face was full of astonishment. However, killing them one by one was boring, and it was difficult to hone the Eternal Night Sword technique, so Yang Xiaoshan unfolded his soul power to look for a herd of beasts, and he had to look for a very large one, at least a few hundred. Other disciples came in thinking about how to avoid the herd, but Yang Xiaoshan was thinking about how to find the herd. Hard work pays off. After Yang Xiaoshan killed dozens of beasts in a row, he finally found a huge herd. There were 300 or 400 beasts in this herd, and all of them were silver moon wolves. Silver moon wolves have strong attacks and fast speeds. They are pack beasts. Warriors turn pale when they see them and stay away from them. The weakest of the Silver Moon Wolves are at the 5th level of the Venerable Realm, but Yang Xiaoshan was excited to see the prey and rushed directly into the wolf pack. Suddenly, blood rain flew. When he urged the Sword of Eternal Night with all his strength, the dark light on the sword body surged like the sea, covering all the Silver Moon Wolves. In the Eternal Night, it was pitch dark, but Yang Xiaoshan could clearly sense the location of each Silver Moon Wolf, and even the attack of each Silver Moon Wolf. In this Eternal Night, he was the Supreme Master, and his breath seemed to disappear in the Eternal Night, and the Silver Moon Wolf could not sense his existence at all. This was the horror of the Sword of Eternal Night. Dark night is everywhere. No trace in the void. Sword surges through the mountains and rivers. Sword opens the light. Yang Xiaoshan used the Eternal Night Sword technique to his fullest, sword after sword, and the sword energy kept flashing in the Eternal Night. With each sword, a Silver Moon Wolf was killed. Screams came one after another. Yang Xiaoshan repeated it over and over again. Every time, he had a new understanding of the Eternal Night Sword. Yang Xiaoshan's whole body was integrated into the Eternal Night Sword energy, and he became one with the world. While Yang Xiaoshan was killing the Silver Moon Wolves, somewhere in the secret realm, Fanzi Fan Wuan of the Fan family was also killing one fierce beast after another. He held the Brahma sword in his hand, and with one strike of the sword energy was like the sea, and one fierce beast after another was plowed away. In his body, amazing sword light kept flashing. It was 9 sword hearts, and they were 9 devil sword hearts. The devil sword heart was also one of the strongest sword hearts in the world. Condensing 9 sword hearts is the posture of a sword god, unparalleled in the ages, and many sword geniuses could not condense it in their entire lives. But now, the 10th sword heart in Brahma Wuan's body flashed again. That's right, it was the 10th devil sword heart. This time, Brahma Wuan entered the secret realm to use the fierce beasts in the secret realm to sharpen his swordsmanship and condense the 10th devil sword heart. This time, I will definitely condense the 10th devil sword heart. Brahma Wuan's eyes were firm. If he could condense the 10th devil sword heart, he would be able to alarm the top leaders of Kangshen Academy and shock the world. If he could condense the 10th devil sword heart, he might be able to sense the God Shadow Sword of Kangshen Academy and subdue it. As he continued to strike the sword, the 10th Devil God Sword heart in his body became more and more solid. The Devil God Sword key in his body became stronger and stronger, and many disciples in the secret realm were alarmed. It's Fanzi of the Fan family. He wants to condense the 10th Devil God Sword heart. What? Condense the 10th Devil God Sword heart? When the news came out, all the disciples in the secret realm were shocked. Is Fan Wuan going to surpass the gods? No disciple has ever been able to condense the 10th sword heart as soon as he entered the Kangshen Academy. If Fan Wuan succeeds in condensing the 10th Devil God Sword heart, in the eyes of everyone, it will definitely break the record of Kangshen Academy. After killing hundreds of Silver Moon Wolves, Yang Xiaoshan began to search for the next group of beasts. After a while, he found another group of iron beasts. The iron beasts were covered in iron armor. Although they were not as fast as the Silver Moon Wolves, their defense was amazing. Yang Xiaoshan once again activated the Sword of Eternal Night. He used the Eternal Night Sword technique to the fullest. After he hunted down the third group of beasts, the 14th sword heart finally began to flash. When he hunted the fourth group of beasts, the 14th sword heart became more and more solid. When he hunted the fifth group of beasts, the 14th sword heart finally solidified. At the moment when the 14 sword hearts solidified, the earth shook, the mountains collapsed, and the entire secret space was shaking. Above the secret space, there were gods bowing, a sword river emerged, and billions of sword light swallowed and spit out, and all kinds of strange phenomena appeared. The power of the 14 sword hearts even penetrated the secret space. Even the supreme restrictions of the secret space could not stop the power of the 14 sword hearts. One after another, terrifying sword energy appeared above the square of Kangshen Academy. At this moment, everyone saw this sword energy that shook the world. The light of the sword energy covered all the light of the world. The strong men from all sides in the square of Kangshen Academy looked at this terrifying sword energy in disbelief. What's going on? How could such a terrifying sword energy leak out of the secret realm? Who is it? Which disciple has such a terrifying sword energy power? At this moment, in the deepest space of Kangshen Academy, all the supreme beings opened their eyes. In the capital of all gods, all the supreme overlords looked towards the direction of Kangshen Academy in shock. Chapter 388. Go through other streets. Chenjing, the dean of Kangshen Academy, was meditating deep in the academy, comprehending the supreme sword art. He suddenly sensed the surging sword energy of the secret realm, and was also shocked. Check it quickly. Find out who has comprehended such amazing sword energy. Chenjing stood up suddenly, and said to the master beside him anxiously. In the imperial capital, Yan Sien, the ancestor of the Yan family, also stared at the amazing sword energy in the sky above the secret realm with a scorching gaze, and asked his men to quickly check who caused such amazing sword energy. The ancestors of other super sects also gave orders. In the secret realm, at the moment when Yang Zai Ocean condensed 14 sword hearts, Fanzi Fan Wuan also condensed the 10th demon sword heart. Suddenly, the sword energy rushed to the sky, and the power of the demon gods stirred the wind and clouds. The power of the 10 demon sword hearts also caused a great vibration in the secret realm. Around Fan Wuan's body, the shadows of giant demons condensed, and the shadows of ancient gods bloomed with layers of divine light. Various strange phenomena also appeared in the sky above the secret realm. In the secret realm, all the disciples who took the test were shocked by the various strange phenomena caused by Fan Wuan. The 10th sword heart. Fan Wuan really condensed the 10th sword heart. And it is the strongest sword heart, the sword heart of the devil. At the age of 17, he condensed 10 invincible sword hearts. How amazing and invincible. The Fan family is going to produce a peerless fierce dragon. The disciples in the secret realm were shocked. Because Yang Gai blocked Yang Zai Ocean's breath, the disciples in the secret realm could not sense Yang Zai Ocean's breath. In addition, Yang Zai Ocean condensed the 14th sword heart and Fan Wuan condensed the 10th sword hearts at the same time. Therefore, many disciples in the secret realm thought that the strange phenomena in the secret realm just now were caused by Fan Wuan. Soon, Chenjing, Yan Sien and others received the report. What? Fan Wuan of the Fan family condensed the 10th sword heart of the devil in the secret realm. It caused all kinds of strange phenomena. Chenjing was shocked when he heard it. Yes, Dean. All the disciples in the secret realm saw it with their own eyes. It is absolutely true. Peng Fei, the supreme elder of Kangshen Academy, said excitedly. Fan Wuan condensed 10 magic sword hearts at the age of 17. This is simply a miracle of my Kangshen continent. Chenjing was also surprised and laughed excitedly. Kangshen Academy has produced such an unparalleled sword genius. It is the fortune of my Kangshen Academy and my Kangshen continent. Yan Sien, the ancestor of the Yan family, was also full of emotion when he heard the news. The Fan family has produced another fierce dragon. 1,000 years ago, the Fan family produced a Fanming. Fanming later became a generation of sword gods. And now, another Fan Wuan has appeared. After Yang Zai Ocean condensed the 14th sword heart, he did not hunt beasts again, but sat down in an uninhabited place, and used his heart to control the power of the 14 sword hearts. Under his urging, the power of the 14 sword hearts continued to evolve, and turned into various sword ki around his body. The sword ki was like the sea, and then the sword ki condensed like a mountain, and even the sword ki turned into a continent. Under the power of the 14 sword hearts, millions of sword ki turned into everything in the world. Suddenly, millions of sword ki disappeared. To be precise, it did not disappear, but merged into the world. When millions of sword ki merged into the world, they could kill people invisibly. Yang Zai Ocean could even kill the opponent with just one thought. This is the horror of the power of the 14 sword hearts. Once the 14 sword hearts are condensed, they will have unpredictable power. Moreover, the power of the 14 sword hearts can form a sword armor that covers the body, and can even be immune to the sword ki attacks of the strong in the same realm. For example, Yang Zai Ocean is now in the venerable realm, and can ignore the sword ki attacks of all the strong in the venerable realm. This is the invincible power of the 14 sword hearts. Just as Yang Zai Ocean was constantly evolving the power of the 14 sword hearts, he had unknowingly entered the secret realm for a day, and then was sent out by the secret realm. After coming out, Yang Xiaoshan came to Wang Wang, the deacon in charge of registration, and took out the previous assessment token for Wang Wang to check. Wang Wang opened the assessment token space and saw 1434 light balls. Seeing that Yang Xiaoshan had hunted 1434 beasts, he smiled and nodded to Yang Xiaoshan, saying, "Congratulations, little brother, you have hunted 1434 beasts and successfully passed the assessment." Yang Xiaoshan became a martial master at the age of 14. When he signed up, he attracted the attention of many masters. Now they were all surprised to see that Yang Xiaoshan could really pass the assessment. After all, being able to hunt more than 1400 beasts in one day was enough to prove that Yang Xiaoshan's combat power was extraordinary. Afterwards, Wang Wang gave Yang Xiaoshan the identity card of the inner disciple of Kangshen Academy and branded Yang Xiaoshan's name on the identity card. He smiled at Yang Xiaoshan and said, "Little brother, from now on you will be a disciple of my Kangshen Academy. You are also the youngest disciple of my Kangshen Academy. Congratulations." Yang Xiaoshan took the identity card and smiled at Wang Wang, saying, "Thank you, senior brother." Then, Wang Wang gave Yang Xiaoshan a notebook and introduced some rules and situations of Kangshen Academy in detail, very enthusiastically. Yang Xiaoshan thanked him and gave him a bag of low-grade spirit stones. Wang Wang took it and smiled and told Yang Xiaoshan to come to him anytime if he had anything to do. Yang Xiaoshan was not in a hurry to enter Kangshen Academy, but left the square with Mo Yuan and the others. Although he was a disciple of Kangshen Academy, according to the regulations of Kangshen Academy, inner disciples could not bring guards and followers into the academy, so he planned to buy a mansion in Wanzhen imperial capital. In the future, Mo Yuan, Man Fang and the others will live and practice in the mansion in Wanzhen imperial capital. Kangshen Academy is not far from Wanzhen imperial capital, so it is convenient to travel. And in the future, his family will have a place to stay when they come to Wanzhen Empire. Just when Yang Xiaoshan and the others came to the imperial capital, Yang Jun also learned that Yang Xiaoshan had passed the assessment of Kangshen Academy. Upon hearing the news, his face darkened. This kid passed the assessment? Yang Xiaoshan passed the assessment and became a disciple of Kangshen Academy. If they wanted to attack him again, they would have all kinds of concerns. At this time, Yang Xiaoshan and the demon ape were walking towards the largest chamber of commerce in the 10,000 Gods Empire. When they passed the mortal restaurant, they saw that the restaurant was full of guards from the Fan family, layer upon layer. And in the restaurant, there were laughter and joy. In the restaurant, a young man of 17 or 18 years old was surrounded by people and was toasting. "That is Fan Wuan, the son of the Fan family." Man Fang said, "I heard that the strange phenomenon in the secret realm was caused by his condensation of 10 magic sword hearts. His condensation of 10 magic sword hearts has alarmed the top leaders of the Kangshen Academy and the ancestors of all parties. He should have booked the entire mortal restaurant." These disciples of super big families always like to clear the field and act in a domineering and arrogant manner. Bingayan Kilin was quite displeased. The guards of the Fan family not only guarded the entrances and exits of the restaurant, but also guarded the street in front of the restaurant. Just when Yang Xiaoshan and his friends were about to pass in front of the restaurant, a guard of the Fan family stopped Yang Xiaoshan. "This road is blocked. Let's go from other streets." Chapter 389. You can't even take my sword. Although the Fan family guard was polite on the surface, his tone was unquestionable. "Go through other streets." Seeing that a mere Fan family guard actually drove them away, the immortal demon ancestor could not help but feel a surge of evil spirit, and his eyes turned red. "You want us to take a detour?" Seeing that the immortal demon ancestor's eyes turned red, and he was about to take action, the Fan family guard said coldly, "It's better to take a detour than to lose your life. I advise you to take a detour. It's only a few hundred meters longer to take a detour to the next street." At this time, in the restaurant, Fan Wuan was drinking and chatting with a group of Fan family masters. Congratulations to Wuan for breaking the record of Kangshen Academy. At the age of 17, he has condensed 10 sword hearts. Fan King, the supreme elder of the Fan family, smiled. Wuan passed the assessment of Kangshen Academy at the age of 17. He is definitely the youngest disciple of Kang Shen Academy. Another supreme elder of the Fan family, Fan Cheng, smiled. Cheng Liao, I just got the news that there is a 14-year-old named Yang Xiaoshan who also passed the assessment of Kang Shen Academy today. At this time, Fan Weihao, a disciple of the Fan family, spoke up. What? 14 years old? As soon as Fan Weihao said this, all the Fan family masters were shocked. Originally, everyone thought that Fan Wuan could join Kang Shen Academy at the age of 17, which was already a record of Kang Shen Academy. Unexpectedly, there was a 14-year-old. Even Fan Wuan was surprised. Yes, he is 14 years old. Fan Weihao said, but he has only hunted 1,434 beasts. Fan family's supreme elder Fan Cheng laughed and said, he has only hunted more than 1,000 beasts. With such a weak combat power, he is far inferior to Wuan. Fan Wuan has hunted more than 27,000 beasts. Almost 20 times. Another supreme elder Fan King laughed and said, if Wuan draws his sword, he probably won't be able to catch even Wuan's sword. At this moment, suddenly, there was a muffled sound and a stern shout from the Fan family guards outside the restaurant. All the Fan family masters in the restaurant were surprised. Someone actually dared to attack their Fan family guards? Let's go out and see. Fan Wuan stood up. He was curious about who dared to attack their Fan family guards. Could it be the Zheng family? Or the Yan family? Or the Shen family? Soon, Fan Wuan and others came out of the restaurant. When they arrived at the door of the restaurant, they saw that the dozen or so Fan family guards guarding the door of the restaurant were all thrown aside. Fan Weihao saw that it was Yang Xiaoshan and was quite surprised. It's you. Obviously, he recognized Yang Xiaoshan. He is Yang Xiaoshan. He said to Fan Wuan, Fan King and others. Fan Wuan, Fan King and others all looked at Yang Xiaoshan and were very surprised. Are you the 14-year-old boy who just passed the assessment of Kang Shen Academy today? Fan Wuan looked up and down at Yang Xiaoshan with an arrogant look. But you are very brave. You dare to hurt my Fan family guards. Fan King, the supreme elder of the Fan family, looked at Yang Xiaoshan with interest and said, your name is Yang Xiaoshan, right? Are you interested in following our fancy? Not interested at all. Yang Xiaoshan shook his head. Fan Wuan's face turned cold. Who do you think is qualified to follow me? Boy, if you can't even take my sword, you don't even have the qualifications to be my slave. At this point, he used his index finger and middle finger together and swung out with his fingers to represent the sword. Suddenly, a column of amazing sword energy blasted towards Yang Xiaoshan. The sword energy rolled like thunder and ice arrows and was extremely sharp. Seeing the other party's sword attack, Yang Xiaoshan did not even activate the power of the 14 sword hearts and even did not activate the beginning dragon art, but let the other party hit him with a sword. Bang! There was a loud sound. I saw Fan Wuan's sword hit Yang Xiaoshan. Light burst out. Yang Xiaoshan stood there, motionless, unscathed, and did not even retreat an inch. Fan Wuan was stunned. He looked at Yang Xiaoshan's chest. He had just hit there with his sword energy, but there was not even a trace of sword marks left. Not to mention sword marks. Yang Xiaoshan's clothes were not even wrinkled. Is the quality of this clothing so good? Fan King, Fan Cheng and other Fan family masters present were also surprised. They all saw the power of Fan Wuan's sword just now. Although Fan Wuan just casually used a sword and only used 10% of his strength, there are not many people of the same generation who can take 10% of their fans' strength. Not to mention taking their fans' sword without any damage. Fan Wuan was surprised and said in a deep voice, no wonder you are so arrogant. It turns out that you have some strength, but don't be proud. That was only 10% of my strength just now. Since you took my sword just now, I will let you leave. You go. After saying that, he turned back to the restaurant to continue drinking. Since I took your sword, you also take my sword. Yang Xiaoshan suddenly said. Fan Wuan was stunned. If you can't even take my sword, you are not qualified to be my slave. Yang Xiaoshan said this, and also used two fingers to represent the sword and struck out with one finger. Suddenly, the sword energy was like the sea, shining the world. All the masters of the Fan family felt a terrifying sword energy coming at them. Fan Wuan was shocked. Without thinking too much, he supported his whole body's true essence. One by one, divine shadows appeared behind him. The divine light was shining brightly. On his body, ancient Sanskrit appeared one by one. These ancient Sanskrit condensed into a piece of armor to protect him. This is the Sanskrit magic of the Fan family. It is also the strongest skill of the Fan family. If the Sanskrit magic is cultivated to the peak, it can condense 10,000 Sanskrit. The more Sanskrit condensed, the stronger the defense. If 10,000 Sanskrit can be condensed, the defense is simply invincible. And Fan Wuan has condensed 1,000 Sanskrit. It is amazing to condense 1,000 Sanskrit in the realm of martial honor. No one in the past has been able to condense 1,000 Sanskrit in the realm of martial honor. Boom. When Fan Wuan's Sanskrit divine armor protected his body, Yang Zai Ocean's sword energy hit the opponent's armor. The armor shone brightly. Fan Wuan only felt an extremely powerful force knocking him back again and again. 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps. Finally, he knocked the door of the restaurant away and retreated to a corner of the restaurant, crashing into a stone pillar, causing the restaurant to collapse. And the 1,000 Sanskrit characters on his body were like candles in the wind, as if they would be blown out at any time. The masters of the Fan family looked at Fanzi, who was blown back to a corner of the restaurant, and were shocked to silence. Even Fan Weihao was stunned. Not only the masters of the Fan family were stunned, but also Fan Wuan, the Fanzi of the Fan family. He is the Fanzi of the Fan family, the strongest disciple of the Fan family in 1,000 years, but he was knocked back by an unknown teenager. It seems that you can't even take my sword. Just when Fan Wuan was stunned, Yang Zai Ocean's voice rang out. Can't even take a sword. What's that? You are not even qualified to be a slave to Yang Zai Ocean. 3 o'clock in the evening. Chapter 390. The Residence of the Gods. Fan Wuan's face was ugly. He had twin top divine bodies and the top supreme martial spirit. He had been invincible since he was a child. His peers had never met an opponent. Not to mention an opponent, few of his peers could take a sword from him. Therefore, he had been arrogant since he was a child. But just now, he was actually repelled by Yang Zai Ocean's sword, and the other party was only 14 years old. Fan Wuan clenched his fists. His face was uncertain, and he stood there motionless, so that he didn't even notice Yang Zai Ocean leaving. After a while, Fan family's grand elder Fan Cheng came to Fan Wuan and said, "You were caught off guard, and were beaten back by the opponent just now. If you mobilize the power of the 10 demon god sword hearts, Yang Zai Ocean will definitely not be your opponent." Fan King also said, "Brother Cheng is right. If you mobilize the power of the 10 demon god sword hearts, Yang Zai Ocean will not be your opponent. And the sword you just used was only 10% of your strength. The sword Yang Zai Ocean just used must have been his full strength. Moreover, you haven't used the power of your 2 top divine bodies, let alone the power of your supreme martial soul and soul rings. Otherwise, Yang Zai Ocean wouldn't be able to take even one of your swords." Other masters of the Fan family also echoed. Listening to Fan Cheng and Fan King's words, Fan Wuan's eyes gradually regained their spirit. He took a deep breath and said, "You are right. In a while, there will be a test for new disciples of Kangshen Academy. Then, I will defeat him." He looked at the direction where Yang Zai Ocean left and said in a deep voice, "Yang Zai Ocean, I hope you can take the sword of my 10 great demon god sword heart power." Fan King glanced at the disciples and guards of the Fan family at the scene and said seriously, "No one is allowed to tell anyone about what happened today. If anyone dares to tell anyone about what happened today, I will cut off their tongue." The disciples of the Fan family were all silent when they heard this. Everyone knew that Fan King was not joking. After Yang Zai Ocean left, he and Mo came to the Donghuan Chamber of Commerce. The Donghuan Chamber of Commerce is the first chamber of commerce in the 10,000 Gods Empire and the most powerful chamber of commerce in the Kangshen continent, without a doubt. When Yang Zai Ocean arrived at the Chamber of Commerce, it was crowded with people. Although he expected that there would be many people, Yang Zai Ocean was still surprised to see so many people. You have to know that the things sold by super chambers of commerce like Donghuan Chamber of Commerce are not cheap. Any inconspicuous item is worth more than 10,000 low-grade spirit stones. Yang Zai Ocean showed his identity card of a disciple of Kangshen Academy. Sure enough, when he learned that Yang Xiaoshan was a disciple of Kangshen Academy, the Chamber of Commerce clerk was very enthusiastic. When he learned that Yang Xiaoshan wanted to buy a mansion, he introduced it to Yang Xiaoshan enthusiastically. After listening to the introduction of the Chamber of Commerce clerk, Yang Xiaoshan frowned. Although the dozen mansions introduced by the other party were good, they did not meet his requirements. Are there any other mansions? Yang Xiaoshan asked. I want a bigger one. This is his usual hobby when buying a mansion. It must be big. The bigger the better, and the bigger the more comfortable. Hearing Yang Xiaoshan say that he wanted a big one, the Chamber of Commerce associate hesitated for a moment and said, there is a mansion that is quite big, but the price is not cheap. It is the Mansion of the Gods. Mansion of the Gods. The demon ape was shocked when he heard it. Is the Mansion of the Gods for sale? Yes, the Mansion of the Gods is for sale. It was only put up for sale yesterday. The Chamber of Commerce associate nodded solemnly. The demon ape explained to Yang Xiaoshan, the Mansion of the Gods was the mansion of the Lord of the Gods in ancient times. Lord of the Gods. Yang Xiaoshan was shocked. After the death of the Lord of the Kang God, many extremely amazing people appeared in every period of the Kang God continent. For example, the Lord of the Gods, the King of 10,000 Gods, the Beast Ancestor, the Undead Evil Lord, the Dark Dragon, the Three Sword Gods, and the Corpse Demon. The Lord of the Gods was definitely the most amazing one 100,000 years ago. 100,000 years ago, he and the Undead Evil Lord who practiced the Undead God canon were people of the same period, but even the Undead Evil Lord was defeated by the Lord of the Gods. The power of the Immortal Death God is beyond doubt. The Immortal Evil Lord who has practiced the Immortal God canon is not much weaker than the Immortal Death God. In those days, the Immortal Evil Lord set off a bloody storm, and countless sects became undead. Everyone was terrified, and did not even dare to step out of the door. Just when Kang Xiang was about to make a move, a young man challenged the Immortal Evil Lord with the Sword of the Gods. What made everyone drop their jaws was that the Immortal Evil Lord was actually defeated. This young man was the Lord of the Gods. Unexpectedly, this Mansion of the Gods is the mansion of the Lord of the Gods, who entrusted your Chamber of Commerce to sell the Mansion of the Gods. Yang Xiaoshan was surprised and couldn't help asking. The Chamber of Commerce clerk shook his head. We can't disclose the identity of the customer, but don't worry, the sale and procedures of this Mansion of the Gods are absolutely legal. Yang Xiaoshan nodded. The Donghuan Chamber of Commerce is the most powerful chamber of commerce in the Kangshen continent, and its reputation can still be guaranteed. How many spirit stones does the Mansion of the Gods sell for? Yang Xiaoshan couldn't help but feel hot in his heart. Many of the spiritual medicines and spiritual trees in the God's mansion were planted by the Lord of the Gods himself, and the materials used in the mansion are the top materials in the Kangshen continent, so the price is very high. The Chamber of Commerce clerk hesitated but firmly said, sell 100 billion low-grade spiritual stones. 100 billion. Bingayan Killin, Shian King Thunder Python, Mishayan Emozu, Manfang and others almost sprayed out the wine they had in the past few days. Even the demon ape was shocked. What is the concept of 100 billion low-grade spiritual stones? 100 million low-grade spiritual stones piled there is a mountain. 100 billion is equal to 1000 mountains. Even though the demon ape, Bingayan Killin and others have seen the world, they have never seen 100 billion low-grade spiritual stones. Even for superfamilies in the Kangshen continent such as the Yan family and the Fan family, it is not easy to come up with 100 billion low-grade spiritual stones. 100 billion is a bit high. The Chamber of Commerce clerk was a little embarrassed and said, the Zheng family, the Yan family, the Fan family, and the Nine-Tailed Fox clan are all raising money. I guess someone will buy the God's mansion in the next 2 days. Yang Xiaoshan took a deep breath and said, I'll buy this God's mansion. This time it was the Chamber of Commerce clerk's turn to almost spray out his drink. The Chamber of Commerce clerk looked at Yang Xiaoshan in disbelief. This young man wants to buy the God's mansion? Yang Xiaoshan took out a space ring, opened it, and the Chamber of Commerce clerk took a look inside. Just one look almost made him collapse to the ground. Help me with the procedures. Yang Xiaoshan said. The Chamber of Commerce clerk woke up from his shock and quickly invited Yang Xiaoshan and others into the VIP room, and then went to report to the top management. Soon, the top management of the Donghuan Chamber of Commerce was alarmed. Soon, Dong Huansheng, the president of Donghuan Chamber of Commerce, appeared in front of Yang Xiaoshan. He looked at Yang Xiaoshan in surprise and doubt. "I'm Dong Huansheng, the president of Donghuan Chamber of Commerce. What's your name?" "Yang Xiaoshan." Yang Xiaoshan said, then took out the space ring filled with low-grade spirit stones and placed it in front of Dong Huansheng. "President Dong Huan, count it and see if the amount is correct." Finally 800,000 words. The third round of testing will start in the next 2 days. Thank you for subscribing to this book. The brothers who have always supported this book have not been easy all the way. We are heading for 1 million words. Chapter 391. Let him move out. Dong Huansheng looked at the space ring in front of him, trying to keep himself calm, and then opened the space ring. Suddenly, the surging spiritual energy roared out. Dong Huansheng was like standing in front of a tsunami of spiritual energy, and was choked by it. The spiritual energy formed by tens of thousands of spiritual stones is not large, but the spiritual energy formed by 100 million spiritual stones is amazing, not to mention 100 billion. Looking at the 1000 spiritual stone peaks in front of him, Dong Huansheng relaxed for a while and unfolded his soul power. Under the coverage of his huge soul power, the spiritual stones were counted quickly. It was exactly 100 billion. Dong Huansheng smiled at Yang Xiaoshan and said, "Young Master Yang, the number of spiritual stones is correct. I will handle the procedures for you now." The procedures went smoothly, and Dong Huansheng personally handled it, and it was done quickly. Dong Huansheng personally handed the palace card for opening the Mansion of the Gods and a booklet with detailed introduction to the Mansion of the Gods to Yang Xiaoshan. Then he personally sent Yang Xiaoshan and others out of the Chamber of Commerce. He watched Yang Xiaoshan leave and said with emotion, "This boy is not simple." The Chamber of Commerce masters behind him rolled their eyes. Is there any need to say this? How can someone who can come up with 100 billion be simple? Have you checked it out? Dong Huansheng cleared his throat and asked his men. It has been checked out. This Yang Xiaoshan just passed the assessment of Kangshen Academy today. He is 14 years old. He is the youngest disciple of Kangshen Academy. But unfortunately, he has only hunted 1,434 beasts. His combat power is much worse than that of the second lady. The Chamber of Commerce master quickly replied. Dong Huansheng also shook his head when he heard it, sighing that it was a pity. Although it was amazing to join Kangshen Academy at the age of 14, he had only hunted more than 1,400 beasts. In the Kangshen Academy where evil spirits gathered, his combat power could only be considered average. It was far inferior to his second daughter. His daughter is also in Kangshen Academy now. She passed the assessment of Kangshen Academy last year. At that time, his daughter hunted more than 16,000 beasts. After Yang Xiaoshan left, he and the demon ape came to the gate of the god's mansion. The gate was extremely wide and made of rare black gold iron. It could accommodate 4 carriages at the same time. The wall was made of meteorite stone, and there was no end in sight. Although they had learned from Dong Huansheng that the god's mansion was very large, they were still amazed when they saw the endless wall. Yang Xiaoshan used the mansion card to open the restriction of the god's mansion and walked in with a few people. In a general mansion, after entering, you will see a rockery and a fish pond, but now, everyone actually saw a real mountain. On the real mountain, there are all kinds of ancient trees, spiritual flowers, palaces, pavilions, and spiritual spring waterfalls. Going around the mountain, there is a plain, and on the plain, there is a palace complex. The streets of the palace complex are crisscrossed, and the streets are also full of various ancient trees and spiritual flowers, which are magnificent. This is the god's mansion. Yang Xiaoshan seemed to have walked into an ancient town. In terms of area alone, the god's mansion is comparable to many small towns. Looking at the charming god's mansion in the sun, Yang Xiaoshan was more and more satisfied. This was simply a paradise in the bustling world. Moreover, the spiritual energy in the mansion was very rich, which was simply an excellent place for cultivation. This 100 billion was worth spending. The demon apes and others were also amazed at the god's mansion in front of them. There are 365 palaces in the palace complex, which implies the number of the Great Zaotian. The materials used in each palace are also top grade materials. These materials can condense the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. That is why the spiritual energy of the god's mansion is so rich. Yang Zaotian lived in the main palace. The demon apes lived in the palaces around the main palace. However, the main palace alone has more than a dozen rooms and several courtyards. On the gate of the main palace, Yang Zaotian also saw the 4 ancient characters above the gods, carved by the lord of the gods with sword energy. The sword energy was full of supreme domineering, giving people a shocking feeling of being above the heavens and above the gods. Looking at these 4 words, feeling the supreme swordsmanship contained between the lines, Yang Zaotian's 14 sword hearts felt like they were ready to move. The reason why the mansion of the gods is so expensive is that the palace has many sword characters left by the lord of the gods with sword energy. These characters imply the supreme swordsmanship, which is a supreme treasure for sword masters. Just when Yang Zaotian and his friends moved into the mansion of the gods, several uninvited guests came to the Donghuan Chamber of Commerce. What? The mansion of the gods is sold. Bailey, the princess of the Nine-Tailed Fox clan, looked a little ugly. She learned yesterday that the mansion of the gods was going to be sold, and she sold everything she had, even her beloved sword, to get enough 100 billion low-grade spirit stones. But now she came to the Donghuan Chamber of Commerce and was told that it was sold. Bailey suppressed her anger and said to Dong Huangsheng, "Uncle Dong Huang, who bought the mansion?" Dong Huangsheng shook his head and said, "We can't tell you the name of the customer. He bought it more than 2 hours ago." Bailey regretted it even more after hearing this. If she hadn't been delayed for 2 hours on the way, the mansion of the gods would not have been bought. After a while, Bailey came out of the Chamber of Commerce with a disappointed look on her face. The young man with Bailey said in a deep voice, "Sister Bailey likes the mansion of the gods, so let him move out of the mansion of the gods." The young man was Shen Yuwen, the core disciple of the Shen family. Shen Yuwen's grandfather was one of the most powerful ancient ancestors of the Shen family. Let him move out of the mansion of the gods? Bailey was stunned. Although Dong Huangsheng did not tell her the identity of the buyer, she just found out that it was bought by a young man named Yang Zaotian. This Yang Zaotian should not be a disciple of the superpower of Kangshen continent. That's right, let him move out, and we will give him an extra 1,000,000 low-grade spirit stones later. Shen Yuwen said. Isn't it a good idea? Bailey hesitated. Shen Yuwen knew Bailey's concerns and said, "The mansion of the gods has been sold. It is no longer under the management of the Donghuan Chamber of Commerce. Even if we let that kid move out, the Donghuan Chamber of Commerce can't say anything. And that kid has just bought it for 2 hours and has earned 1,000,000 low-grade spirit stones for nothing. I don't believe he dares to complain." Bailey's heart was moved. "If Sister Bailey is embarrassed to speak, I will speak," Shen Yuwen said, and then took Bailey to the mansion of the gods. Soon, several people arrived at the mansion of the gods. Looking at the magnificent mansion of the gods in front of them, like the overlord of the world, Bailey was even more moved. "Young master, shall I go and call that kid out?" The guards of the Shen family asked Shen Yuwen. "No need to be so troublesome." Shen Yuwen said this, and suddenly punched the door of the mansion. Boom. The door of the mansion of the gods shook loudly. Yang Zaotian was planning to practice all the sword techniques in the palace, when suddenly the palace was shaken, and the forbidden light shook, and he was shocked. Almost at the same time, the 6 magic apes appeared beside Yang Zaotian. "Go out and take a look." Yang Zaotian's face darkened, and then he led the 6 magic apes to fly to the gate of the palace. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 392, Life Fruit. Soon, Yang Zaotian and his companions arrived at the gate of the mansion and saw the masters of the Nine-Tailed Fox clan and the Shen family. Nine-Tailed Fox clan, Shen family. The demon ape frowned when he saw the attire of several people. The Nine-Tailed Fox clan and the Shen family, no matter which one, are not weaker than the Yan family of the 10,000 Gods Empire. The Nine-Tailed Fox Clan, born with 9 tails, is the supreme fox clan, with extremely powerful blood. It is one of the most powerful ancient clans in the Kangshen continent, and the Shen family has all kinds of magical legends. Some people say that the ancestor of the Shen family is a descendant of the ancient Shen clan, because all the direct disciples of the Shen family have the blood of the Shen clan. Whether in ancient times or in ancient times, the Shen family is the peerless overlord of the Kangshen continent, and an ancient ancestor of the Shen family is the strongest god of war under the seat of the Lord of Kangshen. Yes, we are from the Nine-Tailed Fox clan and the god family. Shen Yuan saw that the demon ape recognized them, and he didn't waste any words. He looked at Yang Xiaoshan and said proudly with his hands behind his back, "You are Yang Xiaoshan who bought the mansion of the gods? Move out now." Yang Xiaoshan was wondering why the other party was looking for him. When he heard the other party ordering him to move out, he was surprised, and his face turned cold. "Move out." Shen Yuan stared at Yang Xiaoshan and said, "Princess Nine Fox, if you want to buy the mansion of the gods, we will give you 100 billion low-grade spirit stones and another 1 million low-grade spirit stones. Move out now." Yang Xiaoshan glanced at Shen Yuan and Bailey and said, "Idiot. What did you say?" Shen Yuan was stunned for a moment. His face was ugly, and his eyes flashed with cold light. Bailey was also stunned. She is the princess of the Nine-Tailed Fox clan, and one of the 6 beauties of the 10,000 Gods Empire. She is beautiful and talented. Wherever she goes, she is loved and pursued by disciples from all tribes and sects. All she heard was praise and flattery. She had never heard anyone call her an idiot. "Didn't you hear clearly?" Yang Xiaoshan said coldly, "I said you're an idiot. If you still don't hear clearly, I'll ask my men to shout louder." Shen Yuan's face flushed with anger, and he pointed the long sword in his hand at Yang Xiaoshan angrily. "You." However, as soon as he pointed the sword at Yang Xiaoshan, the sword was knocked away by the finger force of the devil ancestor of destruction. The amazing force shocked Shen Yuan and others to retreat again and again. Shen Yuan and others were shocked. "If you point your sword at our young master again, next time I won't just knock your sword away," the devil ancestor of destruction said coldly, "then I will break your entire arm." Shen Yuan was so angry that he trembled. He glared at Yang Xiaoshan. "Do you know what will happen if you offend me? My grandfather is the most powerful ancient ancestor of the Shen family." "Oh, your grandfather is the most powerful ancient ancestor of the Shen family." Yang Xiaoshan looked down on him. "Then what?" Shen Yuan felt like vomiting blood when he saw Yang Xiaoshan's contemptuous look. "If you dare to blast the door of my mansion again, I will break your fingers one by one." Yang Xiaoshan said coldly, and then ignored Shen Yuan and Bailey, and turned to enter the mansion of the gods. Shen Yuan looked at Yang Xiaoshan's figure turning around and entering the mansion of the gods. His face was ugly. "Young master, the magic master next to that kid is not simple. Let's go back first." The guard next to Shen Yuan bowed his head and said weakly. Shen Yuan suppressed his anger. The mansion of the gods is in the imperial capital. If Yang Xiaoshan does not agree to move out, he dare not rob it by force. After all, the impact is too great. "Sister Bailey, let's go back first," Shen Yuan said to Bailey, looking embarrassed, and then said, "Don't worry, I will let this kid give up the mansion of the gods obediently." Bailey nodded. She glanced at Yang Xiaoshan's figure. She did not expect that this boy named Yang Xiaoshan would be so disrespectful to her and Shen Yuan after knowing her and Shen Yuan's identities. She looked deeply at the mansion of the gods unwillingly. She wanted to buy the mansion of the gods, not only because it was left by the Lord of the Gods, but also because there were earth-shattering secrets hidden in it. That was why she was willing to sell everything she had to buy the mansion of the gods. However, now that the young man surnamed Yang refused, they could only leave first and think of a way later. "Go check the identity of this Yang." After leaving, Shen Yuan said coldly to his men. Several guards of the god family responded respectfully. After Bailey and Shen Yuan left, Yang Xiaoshan returned to the palace to continue practicing swordsmanship. Yang Xiaoshan didn't take Shen Yuan's affairs to heart. After practicing all the swordsmanship, Yang Xiaoshan had a new understanding of each supreme magical swordsmanship. He felt that, if he continued to practice like this, it wouldn't take long before his swordsmanship, such as the 10,000 phases sword key, the heaven-shaking swordsmanship, the sword of slaughter, and the immortal sword Ju would all be able to practice the true meaning of martial arts. Unknowingly, night fell. Yang Ocean stood in the air, standing above the palace. The night view of the god's residence is very charming, with a breeze blowing on the face and the fragrance of spiritual flowers. Yang Ocean looked at the quiet night sky, but was thinking about how to quickly improve his true essence and blood. Now that he has broken through the realm of Wuzun, he can swallow the 9 revolutions return to origin pill. The effect of the 9 revolutions return to origin pill on improving true essence is much better than the 3 yuan purple gold pill. There is a medicine hall in the Kangshen Academy. The disciples of the academy buy medicinal materials much cheaper than outside. Tomorrow he will enter the academy and plan to buy medicinal materials to refine the 9 revolutions return to origin pill. However, Yang Ocean's headache is still the blood. He needs to open up 365 acupoints at one time, and his blood must break through to at least 20,000 square meters. Now, he has not much 9 heaven tribulation thunder water, which is far from enough to increase his blood to 20,000 square meters. However, 9 heaven tribulation thunder water is too difficult to find. Where can he find so much 9 heaven tribulation thunder water? Yang Ocean couldn't help but ask Master Ding if there are other ways to quickly improve blood. Uncle Ding pondered for a moment and said, "You have a divine tree of life. Although the spiritual fluid of life can also improve blood and ki, the effect is far inferior to the divine fruit of life." Divine fruit of life. Yang Ocean was shocked. He thought of the divine fruit of the sky dragon that he had obtained in the eternal tomb. At that time, the divine fruit of the sky dragon fully improved his blood and ki from 2,000 miles to 7,000 miles. Uncle Ding said, "Although the divine fruit of life is not as good as the divine fruit of the sky dragon, it is not much worse. If you can swallow 3 divine fruits of life, you can improve your blood and ki to 20,000 miles in one fell swoop. It's just that it's difficult to make the divine tree of life bear the divine fruit of life. Generally speaking, the divine tree of life only bears 1 fruit in 100,000 years. Your divine tree of life bore fruit once 80,000 years ago. So the next time the divine tree of life bears fruit is 20,000 years later." Yang Ocean was depressed. "But, I remember you got a pile of waste slag of divine medicine in the 1000 Buddha's medicine god cave. That is a good thing for cultivating divine trees. If you use all that waste slag as fertilizer and let the life god tree absorb it, the life god tree will soon bear divine fruit," Uncle Ding reminded. Yang Ocean slapped his head. How could he have forgotten that pile of waste slag of divine medicine? Chapter 393 4 Beauties and 4 Swords. Without further ado, Yang Ocean immediately took out the pile of waste slag of divine medicine that he had obtained in the 1000 Buddha's medicine god cave. There was quite a lot of waste slag of divine medicine, and it was piled up there as high as a person. Yang Ocean directly poured all the waste slag of divine medicine into the tree of life, as if it were fertilizer. All the roots of the tree of life glowed with light, constantly devouring the medicinal power contained in the waste slag of divine medicine. Although it was only waste slag of divine medicine, the medicinal power contained in this pile of waste slag of divine medicine was still extremely amazing. Suddenly, the green light of the tree of life surged, and the light of life continued to surge out like a tide. The branches of the tree of life began to explode, and the flower of life grew. Yang Ocean was delighted to see this. According to the devouring speed, the tree of life will bear the fruit of life tomorrow night. Grandpa Ding nodded and smiled. The tree of life was planted in the space inside its cauldron, devouring the medicinal power of the waste slag of divine medicine, and the gushing of life energy was also good for its divine essence recovery. So, Yang Ocean let the tree of life devour him, and waited until tomorrow night to check the results. After a night of practice, Yang Ocean felt refreshed. He got up early the next day, and summoned all 6 demon apes to the main hall. After they arrived, Yang Ocean immediately ordered them to help him find out the whereabouts of the divine fire, the 9-fold heavenly tribulation thunder water, and the divine level elixir. Hearing that Yang Ocean wanted to find out the whereabouts of the divine fire, the 9-fold heavenly tribulation thunder water, and the divine level elixir, the 6 demon apes all smiled bitterly. these things are harder to find. Yang Xiaoshan also knew that, whether it was the divine fire, the ninefold heavenly tribulation thunder water or the divine level elixir, they were all hard to find, and smiled at them. I also know that these things are hard to find, just do your best to find them. Yes, sir. I want to recruit 100 Saint Realm powerhouses, and then ask for information. Do you have any suggestions? Yang Xiaoshan pondered. Now that he has come to the 10,000 Gods Empire, he is completely in the dark. He needs to understand the situation of all parties in the 10,000 Gods Empire, so he wants to recruit a group of Saint Realm Masters to help him get information. In a place like the 10,000 Gods Empire, where there are so many masters, the strength of the recruited people naturally cannot be too weak. However, it is almost impossible to recruit powerful gods, so he wants to recruit Saint Realm Masters. Recruit Saint Realm Masters. Bing Iron Killen shook his head. Those scattered Saint Realm Masters usually join the ancient families such as the Zheng family, the Yan family, and the Shen family. It is difficult for you to recruit 100 Saint Realm Masters. Xian Kingly Mang nodded, and these scattered Saint Realm Masters value their interests, and it is hard to guarantee that they will not have other intentions. Sir, how about I dispatch 100 Saint Realm Masters from my Zhongzhou Mishan Mo sect and let them obey your orders? Mishan Mozu thought for a while and said. Or, I will also dispatch 100 saints of the dwarf tribe to come here, and let them obey the orders of the young master. Man Fang also hurriedly said, they are eager to work with the young master. Yang Xiaoshan thought about it for a while, and agreed to the Devil Ancestor Mishan and Man Fang. Devil Ancestor Mishan, Man Fang saw Yang Xiaoshan agreed, and was very happy, and quickly contacted the Devil Ancestor Mishan and the Dwarf Tribe Masters. Yang Xiaoshan also instructed the Demon Ape, Ice Flame Kirin, and others on some things, then left the God's Mansion, and flew to Kangshen Academy. When he arrived at the square of Kangshen Academy, the square was still crowded with people. Yang Xiaoshan bypassed the square, holding his identity card, and entered Kangshen Academy. Just as Yang Xiaoshan entered Kangshen Academy, the guards of the Shen family were reporting the news they had inquired to Shen Yuan. Oh, that Yang Xiaoshan is also a disciple of our Kangshen Academy. Shen Yuan was surprised. Yes, young master, he passed the assessment yesterday, and he hunted more than 1,400 fierce beasts. His men quickly replied. More than 1,400. Shen Yuan sneered. You dare to be so arrogant with such rubbish combat power. Yang Xiaoshan, the new disciple examination of the academy will be held in a while. At that time, I will torture you half to death, torture you to death, and live and die. He is also a disciple of Kangshen Academy, and he passed the examination the year before. The freshman examination of Kangshen Academy is held every 3 years. The disciples who pass the examination in these 3 years will participate in the freshman examination. So, he will participate in this freshman examination with Yang Xiaoshan. After Yang Xiaoshan came to the academy, he first went to the reporting place to report, and then the receiving disciples gave Yang Xiaoshan the robes, swords, tripods, elixirs and other things of the academy disciples, and arranged a place for Yang Xiaoshan to live. All the inner disciples who joined Kangshen Academy have a mountain peak each. Moreover, these mountains have been transformed with great effort. There are already palaces, martial arts squares, medicinal fields, and rich spiritual energy. Looking at the mountain assigned to him, Yang Xiaoshan sighed. The treatment of the inner disciples of Kangshen Academy is good. He can see that both the palace and the medicine field are made of high quality materials and spiritual soil. In addition, there is a spiritual vein buried under the ground of Kangshen Academy. These spiritual veins are connected to the mountains, where the inner disciples practice, so the spiritual energy of each mountain is very rich. Brother, how can I get to the medicine hall? Yang Xiaoshan asked the disciple who received him, and then threw him a spiritual stone bag, which contained 1,000 low-grade spiritual stones. The disciple took the spiritual stone bag, weighed it, and said with a smile, Junior brother, why are you so polite? However, while speaking, he put away the spiritual stone bag and smiled. Junior brother, I have just arrived, and am not familiar with the academy. Let's go, I'll take you there. Thank you, senior brother. Yang Xiaoshan clasped his fists. So the other party took Yang Xiaoshan to the medicine hall. The two chatted on the way, and soon Yang Xiaoshan knew that the other party was Liao Zhang. Perhaps because of the 1000 low-grade spirit stones, the other party was very enthusiastic towards Yang Xiaoshan, introducing the situation of each peak and academy of Kangshen Academy to Yang Xiaoshan, and told Yang Xiaoshan about the many talented disciples of Kangshen Academy. Kangshen Academy disciples are divided into inner disciples and core disciples. However, only those who break through to the 10th level of martial honor can be promoted to core disciples. The most dazzling disciples of Kangshen Academy are the 4 beauties and 4 swords. 4 beauties and 4 swords? Yang Xiaoshan asked. Liao Zhang nodded and said, the 4 beauties are the 4 beauties of our academy. They are also recognized as the most beautiful beauties of the younger generation in the 10,000 Gods Empire. They are Princess Jiuhu, Deng Hongxiu, Princess Wanzhen and Miss Zhengkai Qian. Oh, Princess Jiuhu? Yang Xiaoshan didn't expect that the Princess Jiuhu he met yesterday was also one of the 4 beauties of Kangshen Academy. Why, have you seen Princess Jiuhu? Liao Zhang asked in surprise when he saw Yang Xiaoshan's expression. Yang Xiaoshan nodded. I met her yesterday. We had a little conflict. I called her an idiot. Puff. Liao Zhang opened his mouth and sprayed something. He looked at Yang Xiaoshan in disbelief. I was just joking. Yang Xiaoshan said. Liao Zhang was relieved. Brother, I thought you were telling the truth. In Kangshen Academy, even if you offend the 4 swords, you should not offend the 4 beauties. The 4 beauties suitors can line up from one mountain to another. If you offend the 4 beauties, you probably won't even know how you died. The two chatted while flying to the medicine hall. Just as Yang Xiaoshan was flying to the medicine hall, Yan Long and Yan Jun from the Yan family were also flying to the medicine hall. They also came to the medicine hall to buy medicinal materials for alchemy. Chapter 394 He can't be stronger than Fan Wuan. Liao Zhang then talked to Yang Xiaoshan about the 4 swords. The 4 swords were the most gifted and strongest disciples in Kangshen Academy. The two soon came to the medicine hall. Since warriors must use elixirs for their training, there were many people in the medicine hall, and many disciples came to the medicine hall to buy medicinal materials every day. In the main hall, many disciples were queuing up at the window and counter to buy medicinal materials and elixirs. However, Yang Xiaoshan saw that there was a window in the main hall where no one was queuing, so he asked Liao Zhang. Liao Zhang explained, the medicinal materials in that window are all top grade, but only the disciples of the major ancestors can go to that window to buy them. Or, if you can win the first place in the freshman, you can also go to that window to buy medicinal materials. The medicinal materials in that window are not only top grade, but also very cheap, 80% off the market price. This is the right of those talented and evil disciples. Therefore, those sects and countries that advocate equality for all are just nonsense. If you win the first place in the freshman, you can go to that window to buy medicinal materials. Yang Xiaoshan asked with a move in his heart. Liao Zhang nodded. Yes, if you can win the first place in the freshman, you can enjoy many rights in Kangshen Academy. Not only can you enjoy a 20% discount on buying medicinal materials, but you can also practice in the Dragon Blood Pool. Dragon Blood Pool? Yang Xiaoshan asked. Practicing in the Dragon Blood Pool for 1 day is equivalent to practicing hard outside for a month. Liao Zhang said, and practicing in the Dragon Blood Pool can greatly improve your blood and ki. Also, if you can win the first place in the freshman, the resources you enjoy every month will be 10 times that of other freshman disciples. For example, the elixirs and spirit stones distributed each time will be 10 times that of other freshman disciples. 10 times. Yang Xiaoshan was surprised. Yes, if you can tame the Divine Shadow Sword and become the Dean's personal disciple, the resources you enjoy will be amazing. In the academy, you can get almost anything you want. The academy will devote all its resources to train you. Liao Zhang sighed. However, for so many years, no disciple has been able to find the Divine Shadow Sword. It is not easy to become the Dean's personal disciple. Then, Yang Xiaoshan lined up to buy medicinal materials. Fortunately, he didn't have to wait as long as he did at the Xianzang Academy. Soon, Yang Xiaoshan bought the herbs he needed. Just as Yang Xiaoshan and Liao Zheng were about to leave, they saw two figures breaking through the air and walking into the medicine hall. It's Yanlong of the Yan family. Yanlong, who has the supreme bone and the blood of the golden dragon. Seeing the newcomers, the medicine hall was in a commotion. Yanlong passed the assessment and hunted a total of 10,000 beasts, and he opened up 32 acupoints in one fell swoop. Even among the talented disciples of Kangshen Academy, it was absolutely amazing. Yanlong strode towards the window of the medicine hall. Wherever he passed, all the disciples made way. Even Liao Zhen was so scared that he quickly made way, fearing that he would be a step slower. Just as Yanlong was walking towards the window of the medicine hall, Yang Jun behind him saw Yang Xiaoshan. Yang Jun was obviously surprised, as if he didn't expect to meet Yang Xiaoshan in the medicine hall. Yang Xiaoshan, it's you. Yang Jun's face suddenly turned cold. Yanlong stopped walking when he heard it and looked at Yang Xiaoshan with a look of surprise. Yang Jun had told him about Yang Xiaoshan on the way. Boy, I heard that you told Yang Jun to get out or die the day before yesterday, right? Yanlong looked at Yang Xiaoshan with a squint, his voice full of murderous intent. When Yanlong said this, all the disciples in the hall were shocked. Liao Zhen was also frightened and quickly distanced himself from Yang Xiaoshan. So what? Yang Xiaoshan glanced at Yanlong and said indifferently. Seeing Yang Xiaoshan's nonchalant look, Yanlong's eyes turned even colder. If you get out of here now and get out of the hall, I can forgive what happened the day before yesterday. Otherwise, I will make you regret it in the new disciple examination. Hearing this, Yang Xiaoshan said coldly, make me regret it? Then he said, one move is enough to defeat a bastard like you. Yanlong was stunned, and Yan Jun and all the disciples in the hall were stunned. Yanlong laughed in anger. One move is enough to defeat a bastard like me. He smiled to all the disciples in the hall. Did you hear that? This Yang Xiaoshan, who passed the test by hunting more than 1,000 beasts, now wants to defeat me with one move. Everyone looked at Yang Xiaoshan with strange expressions. Even Liao Zhen had a strange look on his face. Yanlong stared at Yang Xiaoshan. Boy, let's meet at the test next month. Then he sneered. Then I'll wait for you to defeat me with one move. There was disdain in his words. After saying that, he turned and left. Yang Xiaoshan scanned the crowd and didn't find Liao Zhen. He shook his head and smiled, then turned and left. On the way back, Yang Xiaoshan thought about Yanlong. Perhaps because of his changed appearance in the past 2 years, Yanlong no longer recognized him when he met him in the Soul Sea. I'm afraid he has long forgotten that he said he would dig out his eyes. Since refining the heavenly elixir would trigger a heavenly tribulation, Yang Xiaoshan did not return to the mountain, but left the academy and found an uninhabited place, and then began to refine the 9 transformation return to origin pill. The 9 transformation return to origin pill is a 6th level pill, 10 times more difficult to refine than the 3 yuan purple gold pill, and requires higher skills in the fire of heaven and earth. However, under the simultaneous control of the 2 divine fires of Yang Xiaoshan, he successfully refined the heavenly 9 transformation return to origin pill. Just as Yang Xiaoshan was refining the heavenly 9 transformation return to origin pill, the incident between Yang Xiaoshan and Yanlong in the medicine hall spread, causing a lot of discussion in Kangshen Academy. After all, Yanlong is the most talented disciple of this generation of the Yan family and has attracted much attention. Now there is a new disciple who wants to defeat him in one move. This matter even reached the ears of the Dean Chenjing. Chenjing heard this and smiled. A newborn calf is not afraid of a tiger. He smiled at the ancestor Li Bi beside him and said, thinking back then, when we entered the academy, we were also full of vigor and wanted to challenge senior brother Zheng. Later, senior brother Zheng beat us up in the examination. Even many bones were broken. The senior brother Zheng he mentioned was Zheng Dang, the son of Kang Zheng Yangjiang, the master of Kangshan Mansion, and the grandfather of Zheng Qianqian, one of the 4 beauties. Li Bi smiled and said, but this Yang Xiaoshan can cultivate to the realm of martial honor at the age of 14. I wonder what kind of heavenly materials and treasures he swallowed. Chenjing was also puzzled. In theory, even if he swallowed heavenly materials and treasures, it would be impossible to cultivate so fast, unless it was against the will of heaven. He joked to Li Bi, maybe this little guy Yang Xiaoshan can really defeat Yanlong. Libby shook her head and laughed. Not even Fan Wuan can defeat Yan Long in one move. I don't believe this little guy can do it. He can't be stronger than Fan Wuan, right? Chen Jing changed the subject and suddenly said, I heard from senior brother Zheng that when the immortal god of death hid in the eternal burial ground, he was injured by a peerless strong man in the eternal burial ground. When Lord Kang Xiang saw the immortal god of death in the eternal burial ground, blood was still dripping from the corner of the immortal god of death's mouth. What? There is such a peerless strong man in the eternal burial ground? Libby was shocked. Chapter 395 Sword Godzilla. I was also shocked when senior brother Zheng told me. Chen Jing said with awe. Lord Kang Xiang suspected that the immortal death god was injured in the eternal heaven tomb. In the eternal heaven tomb. Libby was shocked. Could it be that the ancient ancestor of the Yellow Spring Demon sect in the Eternal Heaven coffin did it? Chen Jing shook his head. I don't know, but at that time, the strongest ancestor of the Fan family, Fan Ming, and Deng Feng of the Yin Feng sect were in the Eternal Heaven tomb. Lord Kang Xiang asked Fan Ming and Deng Feng, but both Fan Ming and Deng Feng shook their heads and said they didn't know. But, senior brother Zheng said that from the looks of Fan Ming, Deng Feng and others, they should know something, but they just don't want to say it. Libby was shocked. Facing Lord Kang Xiang's questioning, Fan Ming and Deng Feng refused to say anything, which shows their fear of the peerless strong man. However, the immortal death god was first injured by Lord Kang Xiang, and then severely injured by the peerless strongman in the Eternal Heaven tomb. This is good news for us. At least in the past few years, the immortal death god has not dared to be rampant. Chen Jing said with relief. Lord Kang Xiang said that it will take at least 10 years for the immortal death god to recover from his injuries. While the two were chatting about the immortal death god, Yang Xiaoshan returned to his mountain. After refining the heavenly grade 9 transformation returned to Origin Pill. At this time, it was already late. Seeing that it was almost a day, Yang Xiaoshan hurried to check the situation of the life god tree. After swallowing the pile of waste residue of the divine medicine, the life god tree became more and more lush and green, and the green life energy was surging. On the branches, there was a fresh and tender fruit. The fruit was green, so green that it seemed to be able to squeeze out divine water. The fruit exuded a faint divine light and the fragrance was diffused. Just smelling it, I felt that even my soul was about to float out. This is a life god fruit. The life god fruit that has just been born. It smells better than the Cheyenne Lan god fruit. Looking at the newly grown life fruit, Yang Xiaoshan swallowed. He suppressed his ecstasy and plucked the life fruit from the tree. He immediately sat cross-legged in the palace and swallowed the life fruit impatiently. Suddenly, the surging life force exploded in Yang Xiaoshan's body. Yang Xiaoshan's internal organs were trembling. Fortunately, Yang Xiaoshan had the body of a dragon king, and his internal organs were extremely tough. Otherwise, the life force would have been enough to blow his internal organs to pieces. The life force was so surging that Yang Xiaoshan frantically practiced the dragon art. Dragons of true essence condensed around his body. The two supreme king martial spirits, Zuanwu and Black Dragon, coiled around Yang Xiaoshan's head, and also constantly devoured the life force, transforming the life force into Yang Xiaoshan's purest true essence and ki and blood. The 2,000,000-year soul rings also glowed. Fortunately, Yang Xiaoshan had already opened the mountain's restriction, so the auras of the two supreme king martial spirits and the 2,000,000-year spirit rings did not alarm the Academy's disciples. Even so, the inner disciples who were closer to Yang Xiaoshan's mountain always felt uneasy, as if they were being stared at by two terrifying supreme beings. This situation attracted the attention of the Academy's elders. However, no matter how they investigated, they could not find out the reason. As Yang Xiaoshan devoured the life force of the divine fruit of life, his cultivation and blood began to surge, especially the blood, which rose sharply. Soon, it reached 11,000 miles. And it was still rising. His cultivation was also constantly improving. In a few days, he broke through to the peak of the early stage of the first level of martial honor, and then the middle stage of the first level, the peak of the middle stage, the late stage. Unknowingly, 20 days passed. The divine fruit of life was finally refined by Yang Xiaoshan. As Ding Yui predicted, Yang Xiaoshan's blood and ki increased to more than 13,000 miles. Although the life god fruit mainly improves ki and blood, Yang Ocean's strength has also broken through to the second level of Wuzun. After breaking through the Wuzun realm, Yang Ocean's cultivation level has improved much slower than when he was a Wuhuan. If he swallowed the Heaven Grade 9 transformation return to origin pill to practice, it would take more than 3 months to break through to the second level of Wuzun. But now, Yang Ocean has broken through to the second level of Wuzun in just 20 days. Seeing that there were still 2 days before the new disciple examination, Yang Ocean left the academy and came to the residence of the gods. At this time, 100 saints of the Devil sect of destruction had just arrived from Zhongzhou, and the Devil ancestor of destruction led everyone to come and kowtow to Yang Ocean. These masters of the Devil sect of destruction were all unruly and had obviously been trained by the demon ape, Laobing and Laomeng. When they saw Yang Ocean, they were respectful and didn't even dare to breathe heavily. Yang Ocean checked the situation of these saint masters and was very satisfied. Then he asked the Devil ancestor of destruction to tell everyone to go out and inquire about the news. As for the accommodation of these masters of the Devil sect, Yang Ocean was not worried. There were 365 palaces in the palace of the gods, which was enough for the masters of the dwarf clan to live in. Did anyone from the nine-tailed fox clan and the god family come during my absence? Yang Ocean asked. No, said the demon ape. Sir, we heard that a big shot from the Kangshen mansion will come to the Kangshen Academy tomorrow. The devil ancestor of Devil sect suddenly said. Oh, a big shot. Yang Ocean was puzzled. It's the sword god Ziling, one of the 4 gods of the Kangshen mansion. The devil ancestor of Devil sect said. Sword god Ziling, Bing Iron Killin, Shine King Li Mang, Manfang, and Manhu were all shocked. The demon ape also showed a surprised look. The Kangshen mansion is the power left by the lord of the Kangshen. The power of the Kangshen mansion is beyond doubt. There are many masters in the Kangshen mansion, but apart from Kang Xiang, the most powerful are undoubtedly the palace master of the Kangshen mansion and the 4 gods. When it comes to the 4 gods of the Kangshen mansion, everyone is in awe. The sword ancestor Ji Wudi of the Sky Burial Academy is powerful enough, but he is still not strong enough to face the 4 gods of the Kangshen mansion. The 4 gods of the Kangshen mansion are definitely the top existences in the Kangshen continent. Now, they are coming to the Kangshen Academy. Why did old man Zilang come to the Kangshen Academy? The demon ape asked the devil ancestor Mishan. The devil ancestor Mishan had just heard about this, so the demon apes and others also just knew about it. I heard that Fan Wuan condensed 10 demon god sword hearts, and the day after tomorrow will be the Kangshen Academy's new disciples examination. The sword god Zilang should come for Fan Wuan. The devil ancestor Mishan said. Come for Fan Wuan? Does the sword god Zilang want to accept Fan Wuan as a disciple? Bing Iron Killin guessed. Everyone was surprised. I didn't expect that the sword god Zilang came for Fan Wuan. But it's normal. Fan Wuan has condensed 10 demon god sword hearts at such a young age, which is amazing for all ages. It's not surprising that the sword god Zilang wants to accept a disciple. But when everyone thought that Fan Wuan would fight with Yang Ocean, their faces became colorful. Sword god Ziling. Yang Ocean said. Afterwards, he did not leave the god's mansion and practiced in the god's mansion. The next day, he returned to Kangshen Academy. As soon as he returned to the academy, he heard the disciples enthusiastically discussing the Princess Shinwan King of the Sky Demon Clan and the Princess Linmir of the Charm Clan. It turned out that Shinwan King and Linmir also passed the Kangshen Academy assessment today. The performance of the two was extremely dazzling, especially Shinwan King, who had the blood of the crazy demon, who killed more than 20,000 beasts, and was close to Fan Wuan. Chapter 396. Zilang is more and more surprised. When Princess Shinao's mad bloodline is activated, she turns into a madman. No beast can block her punch, and the beasts in the secret realm are trembling. I heard that Princess Shinao's mad bloodline can already be 8 times mad, directly 8 times the combat power. Which beast can stop it? The princess of the Charm Clan is also very strong. The phantom magic skill has been perfected, and the phantom body movement is unpredictable. Also, I heard that the princess of the Charm Clan is as beautiful as the 9 fox princesses. When the male disciples talked about Xian King and Linmir, they were all excited, and their eyes were shining. Xian King, Linmir, Yang Xiaoshan didn't expect that the two women also came to Kangshen Academy. Moreover, Xian King's mad bloodline has been improved again, and can activate 8 times madness. The last time he fought with Xian King was only 4 times mad. I just don't know how the 8 times mad combat power is. Since Xian King and Linmir have passed the assessment of Kangshen Academy, they are new disciples of Kangshen Academy. They will definitely participate in the new disciple test tomorrow. Yang Xiaoshan returned to his own mountain. In the evening, the disciples of Kangshen Academy were shocked again. It was because just now, 2 peerless geniuses passed the assessment of Kangshen Academy. One is Tang Huan, the Buddha of Buddha Yuan Academy. The other is Xian Lang, goddess of Xian Lang Temple. I heard that this Buddha of Buddha activated the Buddha body of Tathagata and the sword of Dainichi Tathagata in the secret realm. He also used the flame of space and the flame of the sea. He killed countless beasts and made them cry for their parents. It was so terrifying. What? 2 top divine bodies and 2 top 10 strange fires. Such a terrifying monster appeared in the world. Xian Lang goddess, with the power of Xian Lang, was personally instructed by her master Xian Lang sword god, and her swordsmanship was superb. All the disciples were talking. Hearing that Tang Huan and Xian Lang goddess Yao Kingsu also came to Kangshen Academy, Yang Xiaoshan became interested. I didn't expect that the two of them would come too. Although he had fought with Wei Zhangyuan in Foyuan, he had never fought with Tang Huan. He had always wanted to see the power of the Tathagata Buddha body and the Great Sun Tathagata sword. He just didn't know if he would have the chance to see it tomorrow. The night would eventually pass. The sky was getting light. The sunlight was like a layer of 9-colored gauze, covering everything on the earth. Yang Xiaoshan left the palace, stepped into the air, and flew to the examination square. Just as Yang Xiaoshan flew to the examination square, Yan Long, Yang Jun and other disciples also flew to the examination square. Almost at the same time, Yang Xiaoshan, Yan Long and others arrived at the square. Yan Long saw Yang Xiaoshan and snorted coldly, naturally with a bad face. Yang Xiaoshan ignored Yan Long, stood in the crowd, and waited quietly for the examination to begin. As more and more disciples came, Yang Xiaoshan was soon drowned in the crowd. Princess 9 Foxes. At this time, someone shouted in surprise. Everyone looked over and saw a stunning beauty in a white dress flying towards the square surrounded by the crowd. It was the 9 Fox Princess Bailey. Next to Bailey was Shen Yuwen, who was wearing a green sword robe. Shen Yuwen, one of the 2 young gods of the Shen family. In the Shen family, only disciples with the potential to become gods are honored as young gods. And in this generation of the Shen family, there are 2 amazing talents, one of whom is Shen Yuwen. Yan Long saw Shen Yuwen coming, and his face was solemn. Although he had the supreme bone and the golden dragon bloodline, he was not sure about Shen Yuwen. Because Shen Yuwen's bloodline of the gods reached an astonishing 95%. In the Shen family, if the bloodline of the gods can reach 90%, it is considered a disciple who can become a god, and Shen Yuwen's bloodline of the gods is 95%. Even the current head of the Shen family does not have such a high bloodline of the gods. After Shen Yuwen arrived, he glanced at the scene and said coldly, "Is that kid here?" Referring to Yang Xiaoshan. Bailey also glanced at the scene. She also wanted to see if the young man had come. After all, it was the first time she was called an idiot, and she was deeply impressed by Yang Xiaoshan. She had also heard about the incident between Yang Xiaoshan and Yan Long of the Yan family. However, there were too many people at the scene, and she and Shen Yuwen did not find Yang Xiaoshan, the Buddha of Tathagata and the Buddha of Xian Lang. At this moment, suddenly, someone shouted. Everyone looked at them. Even Bailey couldn't help but look into the distance and saw a young man and woman walking in the air in the distant sky. The man was wearing a white robe, spotless, clean, handsome, and the woman was so beautiful that it was hard to take her eyes off. The people who came were Tang Huan, the Buddha of Tathagata, and Yao Kingsu, the Buddha of Xian Lang. Bailey had heard yesterday that the Buddha of Xian Lang was so beautiful that she felt a little uncomfortable. When she saw it today, even she had to marvel at the beauty of Yao Kingsu, the Buddha of Xian Lang. Whether it was Yanlong or Shen Yuwen, seeing the Buddha of Tathagata and the Buddha of Xianlan coming, they could not hide their amazement. The two looked at Tang Huan, the son of Tathagata, who was walking through the air, and their faces were also solemn. With 2 top divine bodies and 2 top 10 strange fires, the pressure from Tang Huan on them was not too heavy. After Tang Huan and Yao Kingsu arrived, Xian Yao Princess Xian Wan King and Mei Clan Princess Lin Mei also arrived one after another. Finally, it was Fan Wuan from the Fan family. When Fan Wuan arrived, everyone quieted down. Fan Wuan walked slowly, like a supreme god king walking slowly, without any momentum, but it made the disciples at the scene breathe tight. It's the dean. Just as Fan Wuan arrived at the scene, suddenly, a master shouted. Everyone was surprised. The dean actually wanted to watch the battle. Generally speaking, for the new disciples to test, any old ancestor would come forward to preside over it. Everyone looked and saw a large group of masters flying in from afar. In addition to the Dean Chenjing, there were also the old ancestors of the Academy Li Bi, the Supreme Elders, and the Elders. Everyone was shocked. What was going on? All the top leaders of Kangshen Academy were dispatched. This is extremely rare. Is it just to watch the exam of the new disciples? Soon, Chenjing, Li Bi and others all came to the sky above the square. Suddenly, Chenjing, Li Bi and others all bowed to the void and said, "Welcome to the Sword God Zilong." A tall old man appeared in the void. The other party did not wear a sword, but when he stood there, he was the sword that could not be climbed. He stood there, and he was the supreme sword. Sword God Zilong. It's the Sword God Zilong. Countless disciples bowed excitedly, and even prostrated themselves. Lion Fan Wuan, Bailey, Shen Yuan, Tang Huan and others were also shocked and excited. They all bowed. Yang Xiaoshan in the crowd also bowed to show his respect for the Sword God Zilong. The Sword God Zilong glanced at the people at the scene and smiled. No need to be polite, I just came to see it on the way. Then he came to the rostrum and sat down at the invitation of Chenjing, Li Bi and others. Zilong looked at the new students of the academy. When his eyes swept over Yang Xiaoshan, he suddenly stopped and stared at Yang Xiaoshan again. The more he looked, the more surprised he was, because this young man stood there casually, and he actually merged with the surrounding world. This is the state of harmony between man and nature. Chapter 397 Take action. When practicing supernatural powers, one can enter the state of unity between man and nature, but it is a rare opportunity and extremely difficult. However, it is even more difficult to enter the state of unity between man and nature by just standing there casually. Who is this young man? Zilong couldn't help being surprised and asked Chenjing, who was standing beside him. Chenjing didn't expect Zilong to ask him suddenly. After the accident, he followed Zilong's gaze and looked at Yang Xiaoshan. Everyone at the scene heard Zilong's question and looked over curiously. Everyone saw Yang Xiaoshan in the crowd. Bailey, the 9-Fox Princess, Shen Yuan, Xian Wan King, Lin Mei and others all looked at Yang Xiaoshan. 3000 Emperors Yang Shen, son of Terror, Tang Huan, Xian Wan King and several others spoke almost at the same time. Seeing that it was Yang Xiaoshan, Tang Huan's face changed drastically, and his heart stopped suddenly. Lin Mei and Yao Kingsu were surprised. Bailey, Shen Yuan and others didn't expect that Tang Huan, Xian Wan King, Yao Kingsu and others knew Yang Xiaoshan. When they heard Tang Huan and Xian Wan King address Yang Xiaoshan, everyone was stunned. 3000 Emperors Yang Shen, the son of Terror, and judging from Tang Huan's expression, he seemed to be very afraid of Yang Xiaoshan. After hearing Tang Huan's exclamation to Yang Xiaoshan, Chenjing was surprised and looked at Yang Xiaoshan in astonishment and said, "Are you Yang Xiaoshan?" Of course he remembered this Yang Xiaoshan. Wasn't he the boy who threatened to defeat Yanlong with one move? Meet the dean, I'm Yang Xiaoshan. Yang Xiaoshan looked normal, bowed slightly, and clasped his fists. There was a small commotion in the crowd. He is the Yang Xiaoshan who hunted more than 1,000 beasts during the assessment, but threatened to defeat Yanlong with one move. Yanlong hunted 10,000 beasts during the assessment. One finger could crush him, right? The Tathagata Buddha just called him the 3000 Emperors. I wonder why he is called the 3000 Emperors? Many disciples whispered. Sword God Zilong smiled at Yang Xiaoshan and said, "Your name is Yang Xiaoshan?" "Yes, Lord Zilong." Yang Xiaoshan said respectfully. Zillow nodded and smiled. I remember it. Although those disciples were talking about Yang Xiaoshen's hunting of more than 1,000 beasts during the assessment, he always felt that this little guy should be able to surprise himself in the examination. Then, all the disciples began to draw lots to decide the opponent for the first round. Yang Xiaoshen drew number 4 in the first round. Coincidentally, the one who drew number 4 was the Mizu Princess Linmei. Standing on the ring, Linmei looked at Yang Xiaoshen, but her face was full of joy. She stepped forward, bowed slightly, and smiled at Yang Xiaoshen. Sir, we meet again. These days, Mei has been asking about the whereabouts of the young master, and I didn't expect to see the young master here. Linmei couldn't hide her excitement and joy. These days, she was indeed looking for Yang Xiaoshen. Later, she learned that Yang Xiaoshen might have left the 100 Races Empire, and she felt regretful. Yang Xiaoshen looked at Linmei and smiled. I didn't expect Miss Mei to come to Kangshen Academy. Miss Mei, please help. At this point, he made a gesture of invitation. Linmei turned to the referee elder and said, I admit defeat. What? As soon as Linmei said this, all the disciples were shocked and in an uproar. You know, Linmei hunted nearly 20,000 beasts during the assessment, but she actually admitted defeat to Yang Xiaoshen. The referee elder frowned. Why? He knew Linmei's strength. He suspected that Linmei was deliberately letting her win. Linmei shook her head and said, I'm afraid I can't even take a single move from young Master Yang, so why should I bother myself? When some disciples heard this, they laughed continuously. What did Linmei say just now? She can't even take a single move from Yang Xiaoshen? Linmei, who hunted nearly 20,000 beasts during the assessment, said that she couldn't even take a single move from Yang Xiaoshen? Not to mention that the disciples on the scene didn't believe it. Even Chen Jing frowned. In terms of strength, Linmei was stronger than Yan Long. How could Linmei not even take a single move from Yang Xiaoshen? Bailey, Shen Yuan, Yan Long and others were also stunned. Fan Wuan, Tang Huan clenched their fists tightly. Can't take a single move. Zilang, who was in the middle of the chairman, laughed and said, interesting. He became more curious about what kind of talent this young man Yang Xiaoshen had. Is it the top 10 best golden elixirs? Or the top 10 invincible sword hearts? Or twin supreme martial spirits? And how many tens of thousands of years is the spirit ring? In the end, the referee could only declare Yang Xiaoshen the winner of this competition. After all, there was no rule that said Linmei couldn't automatically admit defeat. Seeing that Yang Xiaoshen won the first competition like this, Yan Long's face was gloomy, and Shen Yuan's face was also not very good. The two, like all the disciples, didn't believe Linmei's nonsense that she couldn't take a single move. Soon, it was the second round. In this round, what made Yang Xiaoshen smile bitterly was that the opponent he drew was Xianlang Buddha Yao Kingsu. On the stage, Yao Kingsu looked at Yang Xiaoshen, and she couldn't hide her joy in her heart. However, her joy was much more reserved. She smiled and said, Young Master Yang, we meet again. Hearing Yao Kingsu's tone, which was almost the same as Linmei's, everyone looked strange. Sure enough, Yao Kingsu turned to the referee and said, I'm no match for young Master Yang. I automatically admit defeat. Everyone looked at each other in surprise. The dragon goddess, who was so beautiful that she didn't look like a human being, and whose talent was so high that she was almost as good as Fan Wuan, actually admitted that she was no match for Yang Xiaoshen and automatically admitted defeat. On the rostrum, Zilong became even more curious. He knew that Yao Kingsu was the disciple of the Dragon Sword God. What kind of talent did this young man Yang Xiaoshen have that could make the disciple of the Dragon Sword God admit defeat directly? Then, it was the third round of competition. In the third round, Yang Xiaoshen's opponent was Tang Huan, the son of Tathagata Buddha. Seeing that his opponent in the third round was Tang Huan, Yang Xiaoshen became excited. He had long wanted to see Tang Huan's Tathagata Buddha body in the body of the Sun Tathagata sword. Standing on the ring, Yang Xiaoshen looked at Tang Huan and said, Tang Huan, we meet again. I have never seen your Tathagata Buddha body and the Great Sun Tathagata sword body. You can make a move. Everyone's eyes fell on Tang Huan. Tang Huan clenched his fists, his face changing from gloomy to bright. The news that Wei Zhongyuan was killed by Yang Xiaoshen has been confirmed. Some people even said that Wei Zhangyuan's 100,000-year soul ring, the 8 sword hearts, and the supreme martial soul were all blown up by Yang Xiaoshen's punch. Wei Zhangyuan died without leaving any residue. Although he didn't know whether the news was true, this news became an indelible nightmare in his heart. If the news was true, even Wei Zhangyuan's 100,000-year soul ring was blown up, then how terrifying was Yang Xiaoshen's punch? The more Tang Huan thought about it, the more frightened he became. He wanted to restrain the fear in his heart, but he couldn't restrain it at all. Everyone saw Tang Huan's fear and couldn't help but be surprised. Take action. Yang Xiaoshen saw Tang Huan standing there without saying a word, so he couldn't help but say it again. Take action. The 2 words were like thunder, shaking Tang Huan's whole body. Suddenly, he roared like a wounded beast, madly urging all his true energy, and the Buddha body was madly urging, and rays of Buddha's light surged up. Chapter 398, 12 Sword Hearts Birth. As the Buddha's light shot up into the sky, a Buddha statue condensed behind Tang Huan. When the Buddha statue appeared, there were bursts of Sanskrit sounds in the sky. Under the Sanskrit sounds, everyone felt like kneeling down and worshipping. Buddha is the most powerful Buddha in the world. Seeing the shadow of the Buddha statue condense, even the sword god Zilong looked solemn. When the Buddha statue condensed, Tang Huan's whole body was full of sword light. In the gushing sword light, there was a golden sun emitting Buddha light. Buddha body of Tathagata. Sword body of Tathagata. Looking at Tang Huan's 2 top divine bodies, Fan Wuan was also shocked. Under the pressure of Tang Huan's 2 top divine bodies, all the disciples at the scene retreated in shock. This is the 10 most powerful Buddha bodies in ancient times. So strong. It is said that when the Buddha body of Tathagata is cultivated to the peak, all gods and Buddhas will be subdued, and all demons will retreat. The body of the Tathagata sword of the sun has invincible defense, and the sword energy has the power of the sun. If you are hit by the sword energy of the sun, you will be directly burned to ashes. Chenjing, Li Bi and others were also amazed at the Tathagata Buddha body and the Tathagata sword of Tang Huan, the son of Tathagata Buddha. Tang Huan stretched out his 2 divine bodies with all his strength, and he walked towards Yang Xiaoshen step by step. Just when everyone thought Tang Huan was going to make a move, Tang Huan stopped in front of Yang Xiaoshen. He stared at Yang Xiaoshen with a gloomy face, and it was obvious that he was still struggling in his heart. This scene made everyone wonder. I don't understand what Tang Huan is afraid of. Yang Xiaoshen stood there, with that thin little body. No matter how you look at it, he looks harmless. Is it really that scary? I give up. Under the gaze of everyone, Tang Huan suddenly said, and after saying that, he felt relieved, and breathed a sigh of relief. Everyone was stunned. I really don't understand why Tang Huan didn't even take action. After he stretched out the 2 great divine bodies, Tang Huan didn't even have the courage to take action against Yang Xiaoshen. First it was Lin Mir, then it was Yao Qingsu, and now it was Tang Huan. Is this Yang Xiaoshen really that strong? Otherwise, why would Tang Huan be so scared? Originally, Shen Yuan and Yan Long didn't believe it, but now that even Tang Huan admitted defeat, their confidence was shaken. On the rostrum, Sword God Zilong stared at Yang Xiaoshen with burning eyes, and said to Chenjing, what do you think of this little guy's talent? Is it the top 3 best golden elixirs? Chenjing hesitated for a moment, and said uncertainly, his spirit ring. Can't it be 100,000-year spirit ring? Li Bi shook his head and said, it shouldn't be 100,000-year spirit ring. 100,000-year spirit ring. He still felt it was unlikely. Perhaps, he is one of the 3 great divine bodies. He pondered. Everyone was shocked. The 3 great divine bodies. But everyone was silent. Although the 3 divine bodies are unbelievable, the Lord of the Gods in ancient times was one of the 3 divine bodies. Yang Xiaoshen in front of him might really be one of the 3 divine bodies. Many disciples were whispering to each other in the audience, obviously talking about Yang Xiaoshen, and what kind of talent Yang Xiaoshen had. Even the 9-fox Princess Bailey opened her eyes wide, and was also curious whether Yang Xiaoshen was really one of the 3 divine bodies. Amid the curiosity and speculation of the crowd, the 4th round of competition began. In this round, Yang Xiaoshen's opponent was Fan Wuan of the Fan family. Seeing that Yang Xiaoshen had drawn Fan Wuan in this round, the disciples were in an uproar. Seeing that Yang Xiaoshan was going to fight Fan Wuan in this round, Sword God Zilong straightened up. He came to Kangshen Academy this time just for Fan Wuan. To be precise, he came for Fan Wuan's 10 sword hearts. Yang Xiaoshan and Fan Wuan came to the ring. Chen Jing and the senior management of Kangshen Academy stared at the two without blinking. Bailey and all the disciples of Shen Yuan were also nervous. Yang Xiaoshan, last time in the imperial capital, I didn't use the power of the 10 great sword hearts and the 2 great divine bodies, so I lost to you. Fan Wuan stared at Yang Xiaoshan opposite him and said, today, I will use the power of my 10 great sword hearts and the 2 great divine bodies, and I will defeat you. Fan Wuan's words surprised everyone. What? Fan Wuan and Yang Xiaoshan have fought? When did this happen? Fan Wuan actually lost. Zilong, Chen Jing and others were all surprised. After Fan Wuan finished speaking, the magic god light surged all over his body, and the power of the magic god sword heart awakened one after another. The magic god sword energy soared into the sky, and the shadows of giant demons and ancient gods appeared one after another. The magic energy and the divine light intertwined. The power of the magic god swept across the world. 10 magic god sword hearts. Seeing that all 10 magic god sword hearts of Fan Wuan had awakened, the senior leaders of Kangshen Academy, as well as Bailey, Shen Yuan and other disciples were all shocked and excited. Zilong's eyes also shone brightly, his face was full of excitement. These were 10 sword hearts of the devil god. He only had 10 sword hearts now, and Fan Wuan was only 17 years old. Then, Fan Wuan activated his 2 divine bodies. Suddenly, the divine light around him became even brighter. Fan Wuan stood there, like an ancient devil god in the world. Yang Xiaoshan, I will go all out in this battle. I hope you will also go all out, and don't hold back. Fan Wuan held the sword of the devil god and said coldly, draw your sword. Fan Wuan, do you really think that the strange phenomenon in the secret realm last time was caused by you? Yang Xiaoshan suddenly said. Everyone was stunned. What does Yang Xiaoshan mean? Wasn't the strange phenomenon in the secret realm caused by Fan Wuan last time? Impossible. Fan Wuan condensed the 10 great sword hearts, and the strange phenomenon in the secret realm was caused by him. We saw it with our own eyes. The disciples argued. Just when Chen Jing, Bailey and others were puzzled, suddenly, Yang Xiaoshan's whole body was filled with 9-color light, and 9-color sword energy shot out. In an instant, the power of the 10 sword hearts awakened. 10 9-color sword hearts. Zilong, Chen Jing and others were shocked. Fan Wuan was stunned. Yang Xiaoshan also condensed 10 sword hearts. But at this moment, suddenly, the 9-color sword energy flashed again in Yang Xiaoshan's body. 11 sword hearts. It's 11 sword hearts. This is impossible. Zilong and Chen Jing stood up from their chairs suddenly, their faces full of shock. Bailey, Shen Yuan, Yan Long and others were even more incredible. Even Tang Huan, the son of Tathagata Buddha, was shocked. When Yang Xiaoshan left the Foyuan Empire, he only had 9 sword hearts, but now he has condensed 11. Just when everyone was shocked, suddenly, the 9-color sword energy in Yang Xiaoshan's body surged again. 12. Zilong, Chen Jing screamed. The academy ancestor who had just stood up from his chair was so scared that he fell back into his chair. This time, even the heavenly demon princess Shinwan King was frightened. She was shocked. The last time she fought with Yang Xiaoshan only had 11 sword hearts. It had only been a short time, but Yang Xiaoshan had condensed 12 sword hearts. Everyone at the scene was so shocked that they didn't know where to put their hands and feet. 12 sword hearts. It was actually 12 sword hearts. Fan Wuan was also trembling with fear. He thought that his 10 sword hearts were the highest in the world, but now, he saw 12. As for Yan Long of the Yan family, he was so shocked that his face turned as pale as a zombie's skin. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 399. The world is shocked. 12 sword hearts. Everyone was shocked and couldn't help but look at Lin Mir, Yao Qingsu, and Tang Huan. At this time, everyone finally understood why Lanmir and Yeokingsu said they couldn't beat Yang Ocean, and took the initiative to admit defeat. They also finally understood why Tang Huan didn't dare to challenge Yang Ocean. Yang Ocean actually has 12 sword hearts, 12 9-color invincible sword hearts, the best of Kangshen. An old ancestor of Kangshen Academy said in shock. Now no one in Kangshen continent has condensed 12 sword hearts. Therefore, Yang Ocean is the genius who has condensed the most sword hearts in Kangshen continent now. Fan Wuan took a deep breath, stabilized his somewhat unstable hands, clenched the sword of the demon in his hand, and said in a deep voice, Yang Ocean, even if you have 12 sword hearts, I will fight you. His eyes were burning with a raging fighting spirit, and a strong confidence arose spontaneously. Even if Yang Ocean has 12 sword hearts, he still has the confidence to fight. Because he not only has 10 sword hearts, but also has 2 top divine bodies. Moreover, his martial soul is still the top supreme martial soul. Everyone looked at Yang Ocean. Everyone was shocked and excited. The 12 sword hearts versus the 10 sword hearts plus the 2 top divine bodies. Who is stronger? Want to fight me? Yang Ocean's face was calm. Fan Wuan took a deep breath again, and said firmly, yes, I want to fight you. You draw your sword. Zilong, Chenjing and others held their breath. As everyone watched, suddenly, golden light burst out from Yang Ocean's body, shining the world, and everyone felt that this was the most dazzling light in the world. Looking at this terrifying golden light, Tang Huan's heart was shocked, and it was finally coming out. Boom. The world suddenly roared. A golden pill slowly flew out of Yang Ocean's body. When this golden pill flew out, the space shook, the mountains shook, the earth cracked, and a force that was stronger than heaven and earth descended on the world. Everyone at the scene was illuminated by the golden light of the golden pill. Zilong, Chenjing, Bailey, Shen Yuan, everyone was stunned. At this moment, in the imperial capital, all the terrifying supreme beings opened their eyes, all with a look of shock. Yan Sen, the ancestor of the Yan family who was about to go into seclusion, also had a look of shock. He didn't care about shocking the world, and soared into the sky, standing above the imperial capital. In the imperial capital, all the terrifying supreme beings soared into the sky, and like Yan Sen, they stood in the air, all looking in shock towards the direction of Kangshen Academy. It's the God Great Golden Pill. The God Great Golden Pill has been born. It's been 1,000,000 years, and the God Great Golden Pill has been born. The world will change. Which disciple of Kangshen Academy condensed the God Great Golden Pill? The terrifying supreme beings shouted excitedly. The masters of the super sects and families in the imperial capital watched the legendary ancestors appear in the sky one after another. Before they had time to be shocked, they suddenly heard that the God Great Golden Pill had been born, and they were all scared to fall down. What? A divine golden elixir has been born. Go to Kangshen Academy and find out what's going on. No matter how much it costs, you must win this man over. Whatever he wants, I'll give him. If he wants my daughter, I'll let my daughter marry him. If he wants my wife, the head of the family roared again and again, and was so excited that he was incoherent. In Kangshen Academy, Zilong and Chenjing were shocked, and their beards were shaking with excitement. Divine Golden Elixir. It's really a divine golden elixir. Zilong and Chenjing looked at the divine golden elixir in front of them in shock. They understood the meaning behind the divine golden elixir better than others. Just as Zilong, Chenjing and others were shocked, suddenly, another golden elixir flew out. When this golden elixir flew out, the sky and the earth shook more violently, and the mountains shook more violently. Everyone seemed to be standing on a huge wave. Two divine golden elixirs. The ancestor of Kangshen Academy was shocked. Many disciples fell to the ground. Lion Shan Wanking and Lenmir were also shocked. Zilong and Chenjing stared at the 2 divine golden pills that looked like golden suns. As for Yanlong, he was already scared to death. Even Bailey covered her mouth tightly, her beautiful eyes full of disbelief. Shen Yuan looked at the 2 divine golden pills that rose up, and thought of the scene when he asked Yang Ocean to move out of the residence of the gods. Fan Wuan was stunned. This is also possible? 12 invincible sword hearts, plus 2 divine golden pills. How can we fight this? How can people survive this? How can other geniuses survive this? In his heart, there was only deep despair and helplessness. The shocked people couldn't help but look at Linmir, Yao Kingsu and Tang Huan again. At this time, they finally understood why the three of them didn't even dare to take action. This is Yang Xiaoshen's true talent. So terrifying. Yang Xiaoshen looked at Fan Wuan and said, "Go ahead." Fan Wuan vomited blood with a puff. I don't know if it was because of the previous injury or because he was so desperate that he vomited blood. Zilong sighed inwardly as he looked at Fan Wuan, who was vomiting blood and had dull eyes. In the end, Yang Xiaoshen won the competition. Next, it was the 5th round, the 6th round, and the 7th round. All the disciples admitted defeat. After entering the arena, Yan Long didn't even dare to go on the stage and admitted defeat directly. Yang Xiaoshen won the first place in the Kangshen Academy's new disciple examination. As the Kangshen Academy's new disciple examination ended, the news that Yang Xiaoshen had condensed the 12 sword hearts and possessed 2 divine golden elixirs spread throughout the Wanzhen Imperial capital. The Wanzhen Imperial capital was shaken, as if a supernuclear bomb had been dropped. In the main hall of the Yan family, when Yan Sen learned that Yang Xiaoshen had 2 divine golden elixirs instead of 1, he was stunned for a long time, and then stood up excitedly. "Quick, let Yan Long prepare a heavy gift and use all means to win this boy over." The old ancestor of the Yan family hesitated and said, "Ancestor, I heard that Yan Long and Yang Xiaoshen have some conflicts." "What?" Yan Sen was furious when he heard it. "Let Yan Long roll back to me. Now, immediately. The scorching sun will eventually pass. Night falls." Yang Xiaoshen looked at the mountains of gift boxes piled up in the main hall in front of him, feeling helpless. These were all sent by the disciples of Kangshen Academy, and they greeted him on behalf of the families behind them. Not only those disciples of Kangshen Academy, but also many elders of the academy, the supreme elders and even the ancestors, came to visit him today, and left a lot of treasures. Those supreme elders and ancestors were as kind as his grandfather. In addition to those ancestors, even Zilong and Chenjing came, and the two came together. The two did not leave any treasures behind, but just asked Yang Xiaoshen to practice quietly, and he could ask them for anything he needed. Yang Xiaoshen was too lazy to open the treasures in these gift boxes one by one, and put them all into the space ring, then left the academy, and came to the residence of the gods. "Young master, the divine golden elixir has appeared, and the world is shocked." The demon ape smiled with emotion when he saw Yang Xiaoshen. Of course, they also knew the result of today's test. At this time, the devil ancestor of destruction came forward and said, "Young master, there is news about other divine fires." Chapter 400 Billions of Ghosts and Spirits. Yang Xiaoshen was excited when he heard about other divine fires. "We heard that Princess Wanzhen had seen Ziwei divine fire." The devil ancestor Mishan said quickly. "Ziwei divine fire. The 7th rank divine fire. Ziwei divine fire is composed of the 7 heavenly fires of Xianshu, Xiangsun, Xianji, Xiangqun, Yuheng, Kaiyang, and Yaoguang." Princess Wanning of Wanzhen. Yang Xiaoshen asked. "Yes, it's Princess Wanning of Wanzhen." The devil ancestor Mishan replied. "Princess Wanning of Wanzhen is one of the 4 beauties." Yang Xiaoshen was moved when he learned that Princess Wanning of Wanzhen had seen Ziwei divine fire. Although Ziwei divine fire is not one of the top 3 divine fires, it is also the 7th rank divine fire. Its power is definitely much stronger than the 1000 Buddhas divine fire and the Thunder Tribulation divine fire. If he can subdue Ziwei divine fire, he will have the 3 great divine fires. When the 3 great divine fires come out together, they should have some restraining effect on the immortal death energy. And with the 3 great divine fires, he can refine the 2nd Tribulation Heaven Grade Elixir. The effect of the 2nd Tribulation Heavenly Grade Elixir is definitely much better than that of the 1st Tribulation Heavenly Grade Elixir. If he can refine the 2nd Tribulation Heavenly Grade 9 Turn Return to Origin Elixir, he may be able to achieve the status of Martial Emperor within 2 years. If he combines it with the Divine Fruit of Life, he may only need 1 year to break through to the status of Martial Emperor. By then, the 15-year-old Martial Emperor will definitely shock the world. However, how can he get Princess Wanning of the 10,000 gods to tell him about the whereabouts of the purple myrtle divine fire. If he goes directly to visit Princess Wanning of the 10,000 gods, the 10,000 gods imperial family should tell him the whereabouts of the divine fire in order to win him over. However, in this case, he would owe Princess Wanning of the 10,000 gods and the 10,000 gods imperial family a big favor. It is difficult to repay a favor. Seeing Yang Xiaoshen's embarrassment, the devil ancestor of destruction said, "Sir, we have received news that Princess Wanning is purchasing a batch of heavenly grade 9 turn return to origin elixir, and she is in urgent need of a batch of heavenly grade 9 turn return to origin elixir. Heavenly grade elixir can be refined almost only by the medicine god. However, even the god of medicine could not guarantee success every time, and even if he refined it 100 times, he might not succeed once. Therefore, even for the 10,000 gods imperial family, it was not easy to purchase a batch of heaven grade 9 turns return to origin pills." Oh, she is purchasing heaven grade 9 turns return to origin pills. Yang Xiaoshen's eyes lit up. Yes, Princess Wanning is urgently purchasing 20 heaven grade 9 turns return to origin pills. Devil ancestor Mishan said, "Young master, you can exchange 20 heaven grade 9 turns return to origin pills with her for the whereabouts of the purple starfire. Even a heaven grade 3 yuan purple gold pill is a sky high price, not to mention a heaven grade 9 turns return to origin pill. The value of 20 heaven grade 9 turns return to origin pills is definitely worth the information about the whereabouts of the purple starfire. Do you know where Princess Wanning's residence is?" Yang Xiaoshen asked. Princess Wanning's residence is on a nearby street. Devil ancestor Mishan said, "If you want to go, I will take you there now." Okay. Yang Xiaoshen and Devil ancestor Mishan left the god's residence immediately. At this time, Princess Wanning was in her mansion with a worried look on her face. She asked her subordinates, "Haven't you bought 20 heavenly grade 9 turn return to origin pills yet?" Her subordinates smiled bitterly. "I go to the East Emperor Chamber of Commerce and other major chambers of commerce to inquire every day, but they all say they don't have any." Then they said, 10 heavenly grade 9 turn return to origin pills were auctioned by the East Emperor Chamber of Commerce a few decades ago. There were a total of 10 of them, but since then, there have been no heavenly grade 9 turn return to origin pills. Princess Wanning frowned. "Since the 10,000 gods empire can't find them, then ask the great Brahma empire and the Buddha empire." At this moment, she saw the housekeeper in her mansion running in excitedly. "Your Highness, there's a man outside. He has 20 heavenly grade 9 turn return to origin pills and wants to sell them to you." "Really?" When Princess Wanning heard this, her pretty face was full of surprise, and she stood up suddenly. "It's true. He showed it to me. It was indeed a heavenly grade 9 turn return to origin pill, and there were 20 of them." The housekeeper said happily, "Please invite him in." Princess Wanning said happily, and then said, "I'll go in person." Then she came out of the mansion with her men. When they arrived at the gate of the mansion, they saw two figures standing outside the gate, one wearing a dragon head mask and the other wearing a ghost head mask. Princess Wanning was startled, and then relieved. It was normal for the other party not to reveal their identity when it involved 20 pieces of Cheyenne Pin 9 Revolutions return to origin pills. "May I know your name?" After Princess Wanning came out, she asked Yang Xiaoshen, "I heard from my men that you want to sell Cheyenne Pin 9 Revolutions return to origin pills. Call me Lord Long." Yang Xiaoshen said, "Yes, I have 20 pieces of Cheyenne Pin 9 Revolutions return to origin pills." At this point, he took out a large jade bottle and opened the bottle cap. Suddenly, the fragrance of the pills filled the air, countless lights rushed up, and lightning flashed. Princess Wanning took a quick glance, suppressed her excitement, and asked, "How much is Lord Long going to sell it for?" "I'll give it to you at the price that Donghuan Chamber of Commerce auctioned it at that time. What do you think?" Yang Xiaoshen shook his head and said, "I don't lack spiritual stones." Then he said, "I heard that you have seen the purple star divine fire." Princess Wanning was surprised that the other party came for the purple star divine fire. She pondered and said, "Your Excellency wants to use 20 pieces of Cheyenne Pin 9 turn return to origin pills to exchange for the whereabouts of the purple star divine fire?" "Yes." Yang Xiaoshen said. Princess Wanning asked her men to retreat and did not speak, but her eyes fell on the 9-turn return to origin pull in Yang Xiaoshen's hand. Yang Xiaoshen understood the other party's concerns and threw the jade bottle to the other party first. Princess Wanning checked it once, and after confirming that it was correct, she said, "I saw the purple star divine fire in the Sea of Stars that year." Sea of Stars? Yang Xiaoshen was surprised. The Sea of Stars is in the south of the 10,000 Gods Empire. There are many star treasures in it, but the tide of the Sea of Stars is high all year round. To enter the Sea of Stars, you need to wait until the tide recedes. Yes, it's in the Sea of Stars, Princess Wanning said, on an island deep in the Sea of Stars. Then she told him the approximate location of the island. Yang Xiaoshen wrote it down, and then he and the devil ancestor Mishan floated away. Looking at Yang Xiaoshen's departing figure, Princess Wanning's eyes were suspicious. Although the other party was wearing a dragon head mask, she could vaguely judge that the other party was not very old. How could the other party have so many Cheyenne Pin 9 revolutions return to origin pills? You know, even I can't receive so many Cheyenne Pin 9 revolutions return to origin pills. Let your men check when the tide of the Sea of Stars will recede, Yang Xiaoshen said on the way back. The devil ancestor Mishan respectfully replied. Afterwards, Yang Xiaoshen did not return to the mansion of the gods, but returned to the Kangshen Academy. After all, he won the first place in the new disciple examination, and he would enter the dragon blood pool to practice tomorrow. Early the next day, an elder came to take Yang Xiaoshen to the dragon blood pool to practice. The dragon blood pool is very large, with a radius of 1 mile. Yang Xiaoshen sat cross-legged in the dragon blood pool and practiced the dragon art. Suddenly, the surging dragon energy in the dragon blood pool converged towards Yang Xiaoshen. At this time, the atmosphere in the main hall of Kangshen Academy was depressing. Sword God Ziling, Chenjing and a group of ancestors all looked solemn because they had just received news that hundreds of millions of ghosts and spirits appeared near the Death Sword tomb. Could it be the undefeated Hades? Chenjing said in a heavy voice. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.